I'm really excited to talk about one thing I know is going to pop up. I'm just going to lean back.
Well, okay. Well, all right. So then we get into visions. That's the next thing. We'll just pin
that back. We'll avoid that as much as possible.
I'm going to pump the brakes on that conversation, and then we're going to return back to the matter at hand. All right. So we got Visions, Volume 2. Visions.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tardy to the Party, the weekly podcast centered around news and reviews of the holy trinity of pop culture, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. I'm your boy, J-Sib. And to my left,
I'm KP.
And to my right,
the Bull.
All right, boys. Talked about it a little bit before we started, but how was your guys' vacation? How was the trip?
Like I said to my boss today, it was better in here.
So much better, dude.
Y'all almost died.
Yeah. We
had a couple scary days. A couple scary days here.
I was tracking it, and I'm like telling people, just run by my house if you actually get a tornado over there. Make sure it's okay. And just never heard a peep. So I'm like, well, guess hopefully it's still standing.
Open up that claim from the beach.
There was so much rain that my neighbor said their sump pump was just going constantly even after it had stopped. So I wonder if mine did the same thing. Dude, I got in my house, just no fans running for that whole time. I'm on a crawl space. It's like 2.5, 3 feet deep. Just must. Humid smell in my house. Oh yeah,
empty house always smells terrible.
I literally opened the door and it like smacked me in the face. My eyes started to water. Ooh. I literally pulled my
God dang.
Yeah. I'll eventually, get around to getting a dehumidifier, but I literally went every single bedroom, opened a window up, like got all the fans going, and it took like probably an hour to like few hours.
Fresh air
to like actually clear out.
Yeah. My pops came over and helped me with the water down here. I have a couple of water issues, but he came down and took care of those while I was gone. Thank God. Otherwise, it would have been a whole lot worse.
Right.
All that rain, of course. You got to have a problem when it's in just downpours on us.
Right. Like I said to you, I was like, I'm gonna go back home, and the weeds in my yard are gonna be overgrown everywhere. And sure enough, they a little are, but
it wasn't as bad as I thought.
I don't know.
Thought it would be.
Yeah, they didn't get as big as I thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
So I sprayed the hell out of those today. So that'd be good.
I sprayed the hell out of them.
I'll probably weed whack tomorrow and actually mow my yard.
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
I gotta do that sometime this week.
Yeah, we're there.
Blink of an eye, dude.
Yeah.
Walked out of the house on Easter.
It's kind of annoying.
It really is.
Living here. It is annoying. It's like March was just like the 6th month of winter, and it's like, yeah, but I kind of need this month to be a little warmer so I can do this shit to my, so I can be motivated to get out in my yard and, treat it.
Right.
Because I'll be honest, did not do that. That's why I got so many weeds. But my yard's also a huge work in progress because I just didn't take care of it the first year I lived in my house, so.
Yep, I had True Green for that. And I paid them entirely too much money to take care of my shit.
Yeah, that's the thing, is people are like, well, you can pay people to spray, and I'm like, yeah, how much is it, though? And then I kind of sit there and think, well, I can do all this myself, why not just do it?
That's the thing, it's like $40 to $60 depending upon what treatments you get per month. But the thing is, for me, and it may end up doing this again, to be completely honest with you, I always say, man, I can do this shit myself, man. I can knock this out. No problem. And then comes time to brass tacks, and I'm like, didn't do anything, and now it looks like dog shit.
Well, it's tough, too, because you try to find the time, because, I don't know, you just got to be, on it, and other hobbies sometimes have to take a backseat, which that's the part that I'm like, well, I kind of hate that. So
I struggle with that shit.
I'm like, yeah.
Struggle bad.
But anyways.
But how was it back here other than their dangerous days?
Yeah.
I've just been painting my life away, man. But the good news is it's pretty much done. So
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we picked out a floor for the new house, so now we just got to kind of set up a date to kind of get somebody to come lay it, and then I think we're moving in, and then there's still some stuff we got to work on when we get in there, but most of it will be done. So
in the right direction, anyway.
And then I'm gonna sell my house. So.
Oh, you're gonna sell it?
Yeah, I don't really want to deal with the whole renting thing.
I thought about that too with mine, and it's a big.
It's just so.
I mean, it's an endeavor.
I thought about paying somebody to actually manage it for me, but I was like, man,
they take so
They
much
take
of
a
it.
lot.
I know. I was just
They
like,
do.
yeah, well, that just kind of
They take
defeats
a
the purpose
lot.
at that point.
Dude, it's literally like a high five at the end of the month they give you as payment. Like it's like thanks.
They take quite a bit. I mean, but they do make sure that your home like does stay pristine, and like they have their contractors that fix whatever your dumbass renters would break.
Right. And
I
they
will
handle
say,
legal
I
shit,
mean,
too.
to be honest, for where your house is located in Peoria, I get it. I wouldn't want to rent in that area.
Yeah.
Or rent out in that area, because, yeah.
But, we'll see. I think I'll at least get my money back in the end, so if not, I might actually make money off of it, surprisingly. But for as short as I've had it. But the market's cray-cray still. So,
I know, that's the thing, is like, I sometimes consider, like, getting mine in order and just, like, getting out of where I live, because I just hate where I kind of live, but it is what it is. It's not, it's got its ups and downs.
Other than that, at home, the only other thing that really happened that was at least exciting for me is my favorite artist, NF, dropped a new album.
Oh.
So,
well, you and I
had
share
my
that same
had my
ideology
therapy
on that.
session this whole weekend.
Yeah.
So,
I
it's
love
a really good album.
I love NF, so I'll have to check that out. I didn't
I
even
say
know that.
it just dropped last week, so I think the 7th is when it dropped. He's also going to be in Rosemont, I think. I was thinking about maybe getting tickets to go there.
When do you think? When?
July 14th, I think.
I might be gone, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the news. This is pretty much going to be a very, very Star Wars centric episode. So I'm going to try to knock out these DC things real quick. It's been a couple weeks, so there's been some other stuff, but I was just like, we'll just keep the main stuff that actually kind of matters.
Yeah, for sure.
There's been some set photos for Joker 2 that have been kind of dropping. There's, quite frankly, several of them, but just to highlight a few. One's obviously a newspaper that I'm going to show on the screen. It just says Crazy in Love. It's got a picture of Harley with an Arkham State Hospital, basically like, what do they call it? Mugshot, basically, thing in front of her. So,
yeah.
Apparently she is an inmate after all, or at least becomes one at some point. And then off to the right has a picture of Joker, and it says Joker has a new love. So, kind of teasing that.
And it's the shot.
It looks like
from him on that talk show as well.
Yeah,
it's that same shot.
Yeah, it's that same shot.
And then in that scene, the lady who was actually holding that newspaper, it looks like Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn is walking into, it looks like a courthouse, I think.
Probably. And
the bystander, this lady, holds it up and she's shouting something at her, and then Gaga just grabs her faces and kisses her. And I'm trying to remember what people said. I can't remember what exactly people think that she mouthed back to her, but basically just kind of was like, well, now you're damned too, or something like that. Like, I don't know. But there's also, I think somebody got footage of Harley Quinn doing a musical number, I believe, and a dance on the stairways that Joker does the dance on in the first movie. And then we actually finally have first looks of her in the actual Harley Quinn outfit, or their interpretation. There seems to be two of them, at least that they've showed so far. The first one here, it looks like looks like those staircases right there. So that's probably that scene. But I like it. It still looks very Harley Quinn, but fits in this Joker universe. It feels very authentic, I guess you'd say. It's not very comic booky, I would say.
Yeah, and the whole thing's shot like a stage production. It's like the costumes fit. It's pretty cool.
And then there seems to be another one with her. I think she's still got the same, like, leggings or pantyhose, whatever you want to call them. The black ones, and it kind of got the diamonds etched in them. But then she's kind of, looks like, I think that's the same top. And then she has just a red diamond kind of etching blazer on. So yeah, I dig it. Looks good. Very excited for this movie. I loved the first one, so just almost dropped the F-bomb.
Ooh.
Mind F me. I want this movie to mind F me.
But dude, if it rides any bit of the coattails from the first one, I was sitting there like I was amazed. Went most of the shit through that. I mean, if that rides anywhere near the coattails of the first one,
It'll probably be disturbing in its own right.
exactly.
And then second bit of news, two things. Zack Snyder was on a podcast with the Film Junkie, and he was asked about selling the Snyderverse to Netflix so it can continue. And quote, Zack Snyder says, shrugs, what's probably amazing to learn is that my influence over those things is very small. The truth is, I mean, it would be amazing if whatever control over the IP that exists, I don't. That's not my part. That's not my role. That's, as they say, above my pay grade.
Okay.
The article from Direct continues to go on. Snyder made sure to emphasize, though, that everyone at Warner Brothers has been incredible in supporting the screenings for his upcoming Full Circle event. Quote, but I would say, look, I'll say one thing. Warner Bros., as far as this screening/event is concerned, have been incredible. This group is now beyond kind and caring and personal, and it's been amazing working with them, so I have no complaints beyond that. As far as the creative goes and what they're planning, I honestly have been too busy shooting this movie. I have no idea what they're up to. I can't find the quotes, but I actually watched the video of this portion of the podcast, but they bring up the poster and how basically asked them, is there hidden meanings in the poster like the fans have theorized, and basically he came out and said, yes, there is a hidden meaning behind the poster, and we'll talk about that after the event. And I was like, you mother.
Just keep on stirring that pot.
So now, as I've been touting, this is a goodbye, now I actually have a stupid shred of hope.
Yeah, that's right.
I hate him for it, but I love him.
Stupid, but maybe it'll pay off.
As long as it keeps him trending, man. Let's go.
Keep him in the what now? But
no better than these thoughts on Instagram.
So I guess
So Zack Snyder.
hashtag sell the Snyderverse.
I guess Zack Snyder's an influencer now. He's got to keep trending.
I think they all are now. Him and Gunn.
Yeah,
And
I think anyone's famous anymore, but yeah.
Put your 2 cents out.
I don't see how it's still going to happen. I think what they say, it's at least Rebel Moon's going to be at least a trilogy. I've heard as much as 4 or 5 movies potentially. But he's also in an interview, I think a week prior, confirmed that they're making this massive RPG game that's based in the universe of Rebel Moon. I'm like, that's another reason why I was just kind of, it ain't happening. Like he is so deep into that universe now. Like he's making his own Star Wars. Like that's what he's.
And that was originally supposed to be a Star Wars film.
Yeah, that's basically him being like, all right. Screw you, Disney. I'll just make it my damn self.
Yeah, exactly. You're not interested? I'm going to make it better than what you're putting out right now. I mean, that should be the goal.
I mean, you might not be wrong there.
I'm not with that sequel trilogy.
I really hope at this event, actually.
We're good now. We'll get to it.
Well, I hope at this event they do maybe show a trailer for Rebel Moon, but I don't know if they will since it's kind of a Warner Brothers event. I don't know if they'll do a Netflix thing, but anyway.
I'm excited for it.
The final thing for DC, the Blue Beetle trailer dropped finally. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. I'm like, yeah, but I also, but I like.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool.
Obviously, there's
It's got
Spider-Man vibes. I mean,
Very
people
much
are always going to get that because he's a teen hero, and
so the opening part of it. With the whole, he's at that...
I love the transformation.
He's trying to look like a big shot at the company and stuff, but he's really, just a valet parker. So people were like, well, that's... They put the Shang-Chi thing right there. And then, not the transformation, but it might have been this here. This is like Iron Man, because doesn't he just start falling?
Yes.
That's the thing, is like someone pointed out, like, dude, all the fucking scenes in this are just literally just rehashed from other movies. And, I mean, again, seeing it side by side, the guy wasn't wrong, but hopefully this movie is still pretty enjoyable. I like that they're doing, like, it looks like it's maybe a guy in his 20s. Yeah, and that's the Doctor Strange comparison, splitting the thing in half.
It's actually hilarious. Somebody was like,
yeah,
seen it?
Yeah.
Seen it?
Oh, these movies seem to be doing pretty good, and these moments seem to work out. Let's just throw them all in one movie.
Yeah,
that was ideally, like, the person that tweeted out and was criticizing the shit out of the trailer was like, he's like, I feel like Hollywood's literally not even trying anymore. And I was just, well, you kind of got a point. But the movie does look awesome. I was just wanted to say real quick, I like that it seems like the lead is a guy that's like in his 20s, and they're not going with like a high school kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, I do have hope that Ted Kord might actually show up maybe in this. They showed the Kord building, and the main villain is Ted Kord's sister. So, which is why am I blanking on her name? Is it Sharon Stone? Oh God, I might be completely wrong. This lady.
She's the main villain.
Yeah. Well, it's one of them, because the other guy that was coming out of like the tent, and he says, weakness is family. Lame line. We've heard it a billion times, but I'm still stoked. I'm not. Some people are like hating on the sword at the very end.
That's
like,
the hottest part to
they're
me.
the little Power Rangers, and I'm like, yeah, fucking dope Power Rangers. I was like, what are you talking about?
As long as it cleaves a couple people, I'm in.
I was like, dude, you just basically made a cloud sword. What do you?
I was gonna say, yeah, like those people never played Final Fantasy
Bingo.
VII. He and I watched that, and I was like, you fucking pulled out the Buster Sword.
The one thing that's a little different from, at least, granted, I haven't read a lot of Jaime Reyes's Blue Beetle. Like, I'm definitely more familiar with Ted Kord's and Booster Gold. But, the Beetle, or, like, the technology, it's supposed to be, like, alien-like.
The Scarab?
Yeah, the Scarab. Yeah. I don't like how they kind of just basically made it like Iron Man's. Like
the trailer makes it seem like it's man-made. But we don't know, obviously.
But, like, it's not really how it works in the comics, but I kind of understand for the sake of a movie why they would change it like that. Because in the comics, you just, like, it'll talk, but it's in an unrecognizable language, and only Jaime can understand it.
Okay.
So maybe they might do that still.
Same
honestly.
Thing in Young Justice, like it talks, but only he can hear it in his brain, and then it looks like he's talking to himself when he answers to him.
Technically, they still could do it. Maybe there's a scene in the movie where it is talking, and it's like from the perspective of the family, and they just hear gibberish. But then that's how Reyes hears it, is just normal English. So
that would be sweet.
Maybe that is the case. If they do that,
that'd be
cool.
Sweet. That'd be cool as hell. Yeah, that's a great opportunity for a scene.
That would be cool.
I like how they're sticking with they alluded to it, where like sometimes it'll do what you want, and sometimes it won't. It'll do whatever it wants. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and
I feel like that's actually a nice little wrinkle that kind of makes Blue Beetle a tad different. Granted, you could argue that's with Venom, but let's be real. Venom, you can lie to yourself all you want. Movies are trash.
I like them, but I like them for different reasons, I guess, than
other people. Just hashtag not my Venom. Just not. It's just. I'm glad other people like it, but just hashtag it's just not my Venom.
That's fair. That's fair.
But George Lopez looks good in this. I love his mullet. He almost has a. It's like a mullet, and is even like that long goatee. Seems like it's family like oriented again, like a kind of like another Shazam in a way. Hopefully a little more successful. Hopefully, well, that's going to be hard to beat.
As long as they can stay edgy with it, and like the giant sword, you got to be able to use it and make it cool. Like
I even like how he had like.
I just really wonder
when he's walking down the hallway. He's like.
Yeah.
I just really wonder if the actual antagonist will be like one of the. Like the actual alien race, like another one of the scarabs.
See, that they could go that route. I would almost wonder if they would save that for like the second movie, maybe it's kind of origin him, and then then we learn like, oh shit.
Or they could save it, could save it for like a future like Justice League movie.
That would be really cool.
Because really, ideally,
honestly,
because like that's what they did in Young Justice was like the alien race that created the Scarabs like came to Earth to pretty much like invade it.
Sweet.
So that would be, honestly, if that's what they were going to do, I would be 100% down for that. Or even if it wasn't like a quote-unquote Justice League movie, if it was kind of like a Blue Beetle Civil War, not Civil War, but kind of like, but to that, it's basically an Avengers movie, but it's a Captain America movie. But I'm excited.
Speaking of.
Love this character. So yeah, I'm glad they upgraded it to theatrical release. I think that's really cool. But that pretty much closed out DC for.
Oh wow.
That's really it. There's been, like I said, there was a bunch of other little stuff, but there's nothing really worth talking about. Most of it's rumor and stuff, and nothing that's really that I feel really confident. It's too salt grainy for me even me to throw it out in the ethos. So.
Well, that's how Well, holy shit. That's literally like what Marvel news basically is anymore. Like, just a bunch of rumors. It's like, let's pot and stir. Yeah. Try to get some BS trending, but no.
Director, content creator, all of them anymore.
I do have some some stuff on Marvel, though, like not much, and I'll just breeze through it. Obviously, the biggest news, this couple weeks old at this point, but Jonathan Majors was arrested for apparently the
oh my gosh, I forgot about
strangulation, assault, and harassment of his 30-year-old girlfriend. However, his representative or his attorney claimed on the next day that the girlfriend rescinded her statements. And that it was recanting these allegations. Trying to find them in this article.
I'd say this quote I don't think did him any favors at all.
No, I probably didn't. But police said it was minor injuries to her head and neck.
Okay.
His attorney's basically trying to say that Majors is the victim here. Like, I'm just going to come out and say that I'm saying that that's basically they're going to try to play this off as it's a Me Too thing. You know, because Majors is like blown up and is famous, and it's like, how legitimate is it, and is this girlfriend,
countless,
I feel like that's
countless allegations all the time, to be able to sift through it from our perspective and know what's legit and not.
It's like anymore. It's like, do you want to be famous, really? I mean,
we just saw the same movie with the old bed shitter.
Oh God!
I mean,
you're right. You're not wrong.
I mean, it's always some famous guy that has a whole bunch of money, or famous woman with a whole bunch of money beating on somebody. So this and it always ends. Not always ends up being true or false, but a lot of these, it's always really convenient timing.
Yeah.
A lot of these for one way or the other, guy to girl, girl to guy, doesn't matter.
I don't think much else has come out about it, but apparently to.
Let's see, do you have the text messages that the attorney released?
I was trying to find them before we started, but I can't.
I have them here.
You got them?
Yeah.
What are the... Because I thought the text messages made it seem like that it wasn't really like a...
I think
a legitimate thing.
I think you can... What do you mean?
Like, she's either blowing it out of proportion or just straight up making it up. However, though, if the police report said she had minor injuries, then
something happened.
Here's what I find is a little weird, and I'll just give you this context before I read the quote. Is their attorney said that they pretty much have video evidence that it didn't happen, and they basically concretely be able to.
I think I remember reading
dispute this and witnesses and whatever.
I remember his attorney saying this too.
Still no video, to my knowledge, at least it's April 10th, to my knowledge. A video hasn't been released. The last I heard of this was this text quote or statement that they...
Well, then we probably won't see a video until this actually goes to trial.
Something that the alleged victim, or not victim, texted to Majors, and it said, quote, "They just called again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not." Oh wait, no, that's not. Sorry, that's the second one.
Oh.
Hold on, where's the first one? Oh, okay. Quote, "Please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me, and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did, and I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you." Follow-up text message. "They just called again to check up on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack, and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this to me. I know you have the best team, and there's nothing to worry about. I just want to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. Also, I said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care, she promised all will be relayed."
So we're done.
But it can't be, though, because I guarantee California is like our state, where if it's called in as domestic dispute and all that crap, the state can't just drop it.
Well, right, but when any case they try to bring to the forefront, it's going to be very, very weak. I mean,
like, even if she's like, yeah, none of this happened, the state, I guarantee that's like, it's California. Of course, it is probably how they are, and it's just like they just can't actually drop the case just because of what it was called in as.
Yeah, they'll investigate it, of course. That's why we haven't seen a video yet. I mean, they still got to look at the video and put everything together before they can tell us anything of substance. But this is going to be a pretty solid thing for his legal team to have.
Yeah,
it's weird because I've heard this statement has split people on whether they actually think this concretes his innocence or not. And there's one sentence in there that is really, really odd, and it sticks out to me too. Basically, "And I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone." And there was clearly there was some dispute because they alluded to it later because of the last time they had talked wasn't communication prior.
Well, you're reading quotes in an article, so again, we won't know for certain, so we actually see the screenshots of the text message chain.
So some people be like, "Oh yeah, slam dunk, he's innocent." And other people are like, "That sounds like a victim trying to appease their abuser." And I'm not, and I'm like, well, because that one line I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. So what happened when you tried to grab the phone?
Well, here's the thing. So if I'm thinking about this from the perspective of somebody looking in on it, if you think about that, if someone's trying to take something from me, and if they get their hands on it and they don't want to let it go, and you're a lot less stronger than I am, I'm probably going to take you for a ride.
Or just push you.
Yeah, or push you away. You're going to fall. Something will happen.
That could have allegedly happened. Who knows? We won't know.
Exactly. Unless you're there, all we can do is speculate. But, it's...
But in relation to the MCU, industry insider, Jeff Snyder, speaking on the Hot Mic podcast, he says that Marvel hasn't made any decisions, but they are apparently discussing potential options with Majors' agent. So, which, I mean, that's just them CYAing, so.
Yeah.
True.
What is kind of like really convenient for them, though, I've seen other people point this out too, is if they did have to recast him, easiest recast in the world.
I mean, facts.
Yeah, it's true.
I hope he's innocent, because I'd like to see more of his gang. That's one of the few bright spots I thought of Quantumania.
It just might be a little weird when, you have that one end shot of Ant-Man when there's thousands of them in that Coliseum, but then we get a recast, and multiverse, I look different. It's like, well, okay, but...
I'm pretty sure that's the same variant, just different.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, just roll with it. But, moving on. Some set photos from Captain America 4 got leaked. Particularly A shot with Anthony Mackie, who had his arm in a brace, and he was in a black suit, and it was either standing behind him or kind of beside him, but in the same photo that was taken by said paparazzi, is Liv Tyler's back!
Liv Tyler.
It's Betty Ross! So the theory is that they're at Red Hulk's funeral.
Oh.
That he might die in the movie.
Okay.
Which, Harrison Ford is 80 years old. So yeah, probably likely. So, like, he probably just got a bag to do the one movie and
moved along.
So
Man, that is kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All we can wring out of these.
But what's also funny too is people are like pointing out, like, okay, so Liv Tyler's coming back as Betty Ross. They have the other guy that's coming back as
Abomination.
No.
Oh,
other guy, Brain.
Why can I not think of his name? Screw it, it's a Marvel character. I'm not supposed to know these things. It's also a Hulk character. I grew up hating Hulk comics.
Exactly. And then Red Hulk is in it, so everyone's like, this is just a Hulk movie, isn't it? But since Marvel can't technically make those, it's Captain America 4, New World Order. But it's a Hulk plot.
and Hulk.
But it's a Hulk plot. I'm assuming that's...
I think his lame-looking son's going to be in it, too.
Huh?
I think his lame-looking son's going to be in it, too.
Oh, God.
Goofy-looking... Oh, my God.
Let's
go out for a barbecue. Yeah, Scar.
Yeah.
I thought I hated Smart Hulk until I saw Barbecue Hulk. And I was like, I hate you even more. Your stupid little son.
Barbecue Hulk.
Stupid Hulk.
Everybody's got to have their Bro Thor moment. Everybody.
The leader.
That's it.
That's the guy. That's the guy.
I'll do it.
So, yeah. We'll see. But maybe looking like a Hulk movie. But Captain America.
Paramount's going to be so pissed. Or Universal, whatever.
Other things, I might butcher his last name here.
Same thing,
Vincent. Is it D'Onofrio? The guy who plays Kingpin.
I know.
He started spilling a lot.
Just spilling the tea a little bit?
About Daredevil Born Again. I don't have any more...
He might lose a job.
Yes, it's not a good move, boss.
Maybe he's the one getting recast.
He had to have been in it, and I tried to actually find an interview that he must have done on it, because it was like a few days in a row, like it was a new thing about, he confirms this and that. So apparently it's going to be as violent and brutal as the Netflix series.
Oh, let's go.
So,
check.
Okay, Disney.
Check.
Okay, that's fine. I'd do it.
It's a great start.
I'd do it.
Do it if you're bad.
He says that the plot of the first season is going to be that Kingpin's going to be running to be mayor of New York.
Okay.
And John Bernthal is definitely in it. I guess he came out and confirmed that, so whatever. And then he just kind of already said that they have a season 2 already planned and in development.
Damn.
Apparently.
Hell yeah.
Or at least planned. Maybe not in development, but he said that they already have a season 2 planned. So we're at least going to get 2 seasons of the show.
Well, it must be hitting for somebody somewhere.
I'll say they must have really liked that script for the first season then.
And I
that's
think
exciting, though.
Yeah.
I like Daredevil.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite Marvel heroes, and I don't know if it was Charlie Cox, but or maybe just someone wishing for it, but hopefully just with the fact that we have all this CGI and stuff, that we see a little bit more of the athleticism and the acrobatic of really cool. Daredevil. Because we didn't really get that in the Netflix series, but that was also like really super grounded. And they did the whole like, they really obsessed with the whole like, well, he was trained by Stick as a ninja, like heavy. So yeah.
I'm a ninja.
Alright, so then the Secret Invasion trailer dropped. The show's going to be... And it does look like it. It's described as a Cold War era-like espionage show.
Which is sweet.
And it looks
really good.
It looks really good.
It looks really good. So from the trailer, it kind of looks like the Talos doesn't really have a hold on all the Skrulls that are actually on Earth anymore. Because he kind of basically summons Nick Fury, the real Nick Fury, back to Earth. And he says to him, like, how stuff's getting out of control. And Nick Fury basically just says, yeah, I know, that's why I'm here. And apparently the idea of the show is that the assumption is that a lot of the world powers, or like Illuminati, whatever, are using Skrulls to be double agents and governments so they can globally control the world through politics.
Sounds like the Grisk.
Right. The Grisk. So, yeah.
Exactly what it is. It's crazy.
And I think from the trailer, we got confirmation that Emilia Clarke is actually playing Talos' daughter. So she's a Skrull. I think she looks in a mirror and, like, you can tell that it's her.
Yeah.
Like, the prosthetics are on or something.
Yeah.
We saw that Colby Smulders will return as Maria Hill. Hopefully that's in an actual important role. We get more of the character, because she was just kind of always a background piece in Avengers.
I know, I was like excited.
And I just
when
never
she got
understood.
cast as that. I was like, let's go.
Right.
From How I Met Your Mother.
Mutter.
How I Met Your Mother to the Marvel Universe. That's pretty sweet. And then she's, like you said, just always in the background.
Just a pass-by character.
Says like maybe a line or two, and then
Yeah.
she's done. I'm like, that's what you're
Well,
wasting.
she's in
Colby Smulders
Avengers.
on, is
Always got her
this?
clipboard.
She's in Avengers 1.
Taking notes.
She's
All the
in
lines are
the
on
second Captain America. And then she's...
Oh, quit.
And really, even in the second Captain America and in Age of Ultron...
Was she a lead? I didn't
is
watch.
she even-
I didn't
is she
watch
even
Agent of
in-
the Shield. Is she a lead in that show? When
I
it
don't
was
think
on?
so.
I never watched it.
I don't think so at all. And then, she was also another side character in the second Spider-Man. So, like, yeah, they just kind of always had her as, like, in the background as Maria Hill, which is weird.
So hopefully she gets a little more time to shine. Finally, her big payoff.
Yeah. Because usually, like, in the Civil War, like, when they do the Civil War in the comics, she was usually more of an important player in that, but, like, working more closely with Stark, but they obviously just didn't do that. And then Don Cheadle was in a scene for it, so he'll be back as Rhodey, but again, who knows if they were just spoiling, like, one episode that he makes a cameo, or if he's going to actually be in it, because, like, yeah, he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but he, like, 5 minutes a time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we'll see on that. Last thing I got here is something that kind of came out within the past few days, but apparently Thunderbolts, the new rumor is that it's going to be rewritten on the script so it doesn't centrally focus too much on the Black Widow characters. So maybe, I guess, they're deciding not to go with Florence Pugh as the central leader of the group. And if they're not, then I would imagine they might just go ahead and make it Bucky. Maybe not, though.
That poor movie. That poor movie.
Shouldn't have been that. He did the boy.
Never stood a chance.
Never stood a chance.
Poor movie.
Isn't Red Hulk supposed to be in that too, though?
I think he was heavily rumored, right?
I think so. Well, didn't they at least confirm that President Ross was going to be in it?
Maybe
But I think
he
they also
is.
like heavily implied that like Red Hulk was going to show up. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you're bringing a boy,
But
Mr.
maybe...
Solo in,
And if he's
Mr.
gonna get
Harrison
and-
Ford
and
in,
if
you
he's,
gotta.
if he's gonna get waxed in Captain America 4 anyway.
Was he confirmed to be in it? I thought it was just...
I thought it was.
Unless I'm
confirmed,
misremembering.
a lot of different pages. Idea of confirmed is different though.
That's true.
It's like I heard it confirmed.
Confirmed. Heard my.
He's a part of the Thunderbolts in the comics, but what I'm wondering is if... Because again, like we said, like this Thunderbolts movie is essentially like Marvel's Suicide Squad. I wonder if, like, Red Hulk, like I said, with the whole thing with Captain America, I wonder if he will die in that. But then, and then in Thunderbolts, they'll have Abomination as their, like, Hulk team member. Super Soldier Gone Wrong, whatever you want to call it. Whatever the hell you want to call it.
Oh boy. Well, best of luck to that movie. It's going through a lot.
Poor.
That and Blade. Cheers.
Oh,
dude, yeah.
Is that even still a thing? Yeah.
It is somehow, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, Thunderbolts and Blade. If Flash can make it, people thought that was a fake movie for the longest time. It's finally here. You know, we had 9 seasons of The Flash, you know, after you announced this damn movie, but we're getting it. Let's go.
Flashpoint.
Apparently it's really good, so maybe these movies will turn out to be just amazing.
Maybe.
You never know anymore. The sure things aren't sure things. It's just not.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried we had like a very small amount of good banger stuff with Phase 4, but I'm worried with the Russo brothers being gone that the Marvel stuff might finally just start, with fatigue of just seeing the crap all the time, and then just not having the Russos there to kind of be Feige's guys that probably were actually overseeing a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember. They were talking about how, obviously superhero fatigue is real.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, actually, that was something James Gunn said.
Gunn, that's right. Yeah, somebody dropped something that said that, and I was like, that's facts.
Yeah, I guess the 2 things I did leave out was that he mentioned that, but he was more saying just but I think it's because there aren't enough actual good scripts in these movies. It's all just about big explosions and
the popcorn movie,
big set pieces, and not necessarily about a good script and story.
But the problem is that these movies at least feel original, because before any of this stuff, and let's go way back here. Let's before 2000, you had Batman and Superman all the time. Yeah. What else did you have? You didn't have any other superhero movies, really. I mean, I guess Blade, in the 90s, but
a lot of people didn't even know that was a type of superhero movie.
No, a lot of people did.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't even realize that was a Marvel property when it came out.
Exactly.
Same thing with Hellboy when that one came out. Yeah. A lot of people didn't know that was based off a comic too.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider too.
Right. A lot of those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It mainly was just mainly Batman. Back in the old day, you had quite a few
you had Batman, and then you had...
And then until really, I would say... X-Men and Spider.
I was going to say until the year 2000 with X-Men.
Raimi, Spider-Man trilogy too.
That's honestly, even though if you go back and watch it, you're kind of holy crap, this movie doesn't age well, but that's why everyone will always love the first X-Men, because it paved the way of we can actually do other superhero movies correctly. Just, yes, you can. And then they made Spider-Man, and it was holy crap, yeah, we're hitting... fat dingers.
Yeah, toss me a
and then Universal came out and we got Hulk, and everyone's like, oh
God, this was terrible. And then Fox tried Fantastic Four for the 3rd time, and it was dude, we forgot about this in the 60s, we forgot about this in the 90s, you're trying it again, and we're forgetting about it again.
Comic sales are dipping. In fact, Marvel canceled the Fantastic Four run. We need to get this shit back up. Let's pump them rookie numbers.
Right.
And then DC came back and was we got the GOAT Dark Knight trilogy. Bang.
Yeah. But no, really. I mean, that's the thing. I feel that's why, there is the fatigue with these movies. But really, though, they're kind of, to at least me as someone who enjoys to watch movies of, I love to watch movies. Get kind of lost in, stories, and that you kind of escape reality for a minute. It just feels like they are at least a little original. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, everyone steals just from old stuff anyway.
Right. There's no real original content anymore, technically.
His movie was basically Lion King, but a little different and still felt original enough, so it's really good.
Even Lion King apparently was a rip-off of a Japanese anime cartoon or movie.
Yeah, it was. I've seen that.
Simba was a white little tiger.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't remember what that was called. It's literally someone broke down both movies exact same.
Yeah, I've seen that video. I've seen that breakdown. I was like, oh, now I feel like my childhood's a lie.
Wasn't that the same one when they, like Disney's all the same movies? They put like Jungle Book next to like Tarzan or something like, or like Brave Little Toaster or something like that, and every scene was like the same dancing, the same movements.
Oh yeah.
It literally looks like they just pick and play different like characters, but it's the same.
The same
exact
pornographic image
they
that somehow
recycle a
made
lot
it
of
in
assets,
that back
Yeah.
shot. Due to a disgruntled employee or something, whatever, just Disney stuff.
They don't have those.
Actually, yeah, I kind of agree with Gunn here that like the only reason it's going to set in is if we just keep getting basically Marvel Phase 4 again, and the constant basically up and down bullshit we've been getting from Warner Brothers and DC. Like, yeah, fatigue's going to set in if this keeps going on. Like, that's when it'll set in.
And I think that's why Marvel was like, they took a step back and were like, all right, we need to have our stuff in post-production more and
It's true.
clean this shit up.
And it's like,
Take care of yourself.
I mean, they do, and then people have been pointing it out a lot this week after, I mean, we'll get to Mando here in a bit, but even after just the special effects that are in Mando and just Star Wars live-action shows that are also on Disney+, and they're miles ahead of Marvel, and that's because ILM is in-house with Lucas, so like their studio's in-house, so they don't outsource it like Marvel, but that's kind of Marvel's problem, though, is they've overloaded this whole VFX industry, or at least they're a big part of it.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones, obviously, but so just reel it back. DC is going to take 2 years off ourselves until we get to Superman Legacy, so
That's right.
yeah, it's going to take a little time off. It's all settled down here. Oh, did you see that?
Which
Actually,
I heard.
I forgot about this.
Yeah,
actually.
did you see the rumor that might apparently be about how he's gonna they're just gonna? Someone had a theory that movie is gonna rip off right away with the multiverse, and the Superman that's the protagonist Superman is gonna have to like fight the evil versions of himself or something crazy. And I was like, that's a bold move if you're gonna immediately jump in with like, yeah, we got a multiverse. 5 Supermen in one movie.
Surprise.
I don't think. I don't know if I believe that. But did you see that James Gunn actually came out? So this is some Marvel and DC news. Okay. He actually apparently came out and said and confirmed that they've actually had talks about doing like a Marvel DC crossover.
I did see that.
That will never come to fruition.
Yeah.
That will never come to fruition. This has a way better shot of coming back. As much as I want this to come back.
If he's just
Unless
stirring the
it's
pot.
Deadpool.
He's stirring the pot. But if that's something,
Gun's slowly growing on me. I'm like, yeah, he just loves stirring shit up.
I was gonna say, if that's
Are you listening now?
if that's something that's real, the only way it could ever happen is if Marvel just plummets tanks completely, and then like DC has to like save them once again, and the meeting room is literally James Gunn looking at Kevin Feige and just, how the turntables. That's the only way.
Look where your failures led you.
Right.
Right to the right. Back to me.
But in all honesty, I think Captain Marvel would kick Superman's ass. No.
No.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
And these days,
Okay, we need this. These are questions we have.
See, that right there is why it'll never happen, because they would be like lawyers galore, and just studio heads be like, oh, no, can't do that because that makes our character look a little lesser than him. It'll just be that back and forth.
Could you just see litigation going on, and they're like, no,
I
but
want to see the litigation going on.
They're like in the courtroom, but clearly the power levels are not
Right.
It's obvious to see.
DC misogynistic sexist lawyer claims Superman will always be stronger than Brie Larson's Captain Marvel.
Look, it's just science. The only man, it's been proven by science, the only man that can beat Superman is Kakarot, okay? Kakarot. We've done the numbers.
As you can see on this paragraph. Nah, I could see that now, honestly, the way
And
our
then,
country works.
Actually, another just stupid little thing was somebody tweeted at James Gunn, I miss Henry Cavill, and he just tweeted back, he still exists.
Hell yeah, go look for him.
I actually think I read that tweet. Like,
It's amazing.
now that you say that,
As much of a Henry Cavill Superman fan as anybody, and I would love him back, but that, I chuckled a little bit. I was like, that's hilarious.
That's so
Good on
funny.
you, James.
Ooh,
Gone forever.
gone for.
Oh my god.
So is it officially Star Wars time?
Well,
Yep.
I mean, coming off the coattails of Celebration over in London, there's quite a bit of hot shit coming out of the Star Wars world right now. Obviously, today I didn't even notice this in the Celebration announcements, but went on Disney Plus, May the 4th, we're getting a true Star Wars kids show, Young Jedi Adventures. Follows 3 younglings and a little creature named Nubs. It's like
Nubs.
Kai, Liz, and Nash, and they're all kind of direct reflections of one character or another that we've seen through Star Wars
Yeah.
one way or another. Like you see, like the Harrison Dula is the Nash character, has the droid, is the pilot of the ship, an ace pilot, and then the other 2 are obviously your more strong-armed traditional Jedi kids. Little thrown off by this just because I didn't think that Yoda, because Yoda's in it, he doesn't just say, hey, younglings, get in that ship, go on an adventure, and figured it out.
Was Frank Oz returning to do the voice?
I don't know. I didn't look into it that much. Worth a look, but it kind of confused me a little bit. But obviously, this is really the direction that they need to go with pandering to the kid audience and really getting a new generation of Star Wars fans on board. I mean, there's even, it looks like there's like the assassin droids with the pole arms. They fight one of those.
Trilogy and it was bad.
They do a lot of things with the sequel trilogy.
I said that's what they did with the sequel trilogy and it was bad.
Well, don't worry because they're doubling down on that shit.
I know,
So
can't wait.
yeah. So
I'm really excited to talk about one thing I know is going to pop up. I'm just going to lean back.
Okay. Well, all right. So then we get into Visions. That's the next thing.
We'll just pin that back. We'll avoid that as much as
I'm going
possible.
to pump the brakes on that conversation, and then we're going to return back to the matter at hand. All right. So we got Visions, Volume 2. Visions Volume 2, where obviously we get more hot anime-ness. There it is.
Anime-ness. That does not roll off the tongue.
No, dude, it's great because
Anime-ness.
it's just like an XFL and they call it trickeration on national TV. I'm like, trickery?
Trickeration.
Trickeration. I'm like, so we're just making up words now.
I hope they trademark that now.
I mean,
Exclusive.
what's up, bro?
Are you okay?
You got something you want to say? Okay. We have a guest star today, so Freya, go lay down. Obviously the Visions that we get Volume 2 of Visions. So much different directors come in. Obviously, brand new directors from the last season. Everybody gets their own kind of creative twist on every single episode. See claymation in this, like straight Gumby style, in some of the shots that I saw in the trailer.
Hell yeah, brother.
I know, making it back to 53 with this one, boys. But no, there were some that were really like almost like the Resident Evil movies on Netflix, kind of hyper realistic to an extent. With like it looks like the lightsabers are like almost dripping with energy. It's really strange looking, but it looks sweet.
So this is the one trailer I missed out on was Visions, and I meant to watch it before I came over here, and I completely forgot.
It's
my bad.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's worth it. And here's the thing: if you haven't watched the first one, they're very short episodes. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Like 7 to 9 minutes or something like that.
Some of them a little more. Some of them even a little less. I think.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first season. I thought it was cool, and
Yeah.
I did see a screenshot of like it looked like probably several of the episodes, and I saw how they were going to be doing different animation styles for each one. I think it's a really cool idea, and I'm down to just get these kind of just one-off.
Yeah.
Just that's what's so cool about Star Wars is like you got you obviously have the Skywalker stuff and Old Republic and High Republic stuff, but it's just really cool that you can also just have these just random little adventures and just out in the galaxy, far, far away.
Star Wars story.
It just makes the world feel that just more vast and lived in. I think it's cool.
And it's cool, like you say, where you can just have these things that go on, and they don't even necessarily have to be true. It's like your like Elseworlds that they're trying to create over in DC. It's like,
that'd be cool.
It's it's like you have like Star Wars story where you can do anything you want to. Like in the last volume of Visions, this brother and sister, these light side, dark side, are fighting on the outside of a ship, and you're like, okay, we super laying this thing or what? And then you're like, oh no, this is supposed to be arbitrary. It's supposed to be out there. Like, you just appreciate it for what it is instead of making it make sense with the canon timeline, because it's not going to. But
yeah, like you said, it gives them a little bit more freedom to kind of go outside the lines, if you would, and kind of be a little more artsy about some things, which is always, I think, cool.
Yeah, I'm still, what I'm still interested in based off that too, with the artsy aspect of it. That was Studio Ghibli was supposed to get in there, and I have not seen anything else on that whatsoever since that Dust Bunnies thing came out.
I wonder if Disney saw the reaction. They were like, we don't want to spend all this money right now. We're losing billions. And
let's release this after everybody finishes Visions Volume 2, and it'll all roll together.
They were just like, well, we're doing something that's going to get another mixed reaction from our fan base.
Reel it back.
Yeah, we can't just stack. We can't keep stacking the cards against us. That's bad. But no, obviously these were two things I didn't see and wasn't really paying attention to in the Celebration announcements. But obviously we got the big ones coming up. Really good stuff. Really questionable things. But
what could that be?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
We'll see you next week. That's Star Wars.
Oh, my God. Well, we definitely know what side of the fan base Jeff is on.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we get into the announcements. Obviously, the hotness. We see Filoni. Filoni's getting his 2 movies. Obviously, one in the Mando verse, and one he's going to be involved with James Mangold in a Prime Jedi.
Oh, he's helping with that.
This is why we can't have nice things. You can shut the door if you want.
You could barely hear the other one bark. It's like,
yeah,
crazy.
Luna's locked up.
Sorry for the
interruption there. Our special guest was growing restless. But no, James Mangold, obviously director of Logan, teaming up with Filoni, and I can't remember the name of the other one. But that's for Favreau? The future. No, because Favreau, we'll get there on that one. Okay. But Filoni and Mangold are going to be creating a Prime Jedi movie. And all this idea is based off of, obviously, this comes from The Last Jedi, where Luke is training in the caves on Ahch-To, and we see the emblem that's like a mosaic in the middle of the cave, and it's half dark, half light. And that's supposed to be the Prime Jedi meditating in this perfect balance of dark and light. So, obviously, the idea of the Grey Jedi is what they're looking for here. But they're saying that this movie is supposed to be 25,000 years before the Age of the Empire.
So, I personally think it's like how the whole light and dark gets started.
Right.
It's got to be something like that.
Cool. Oh, dude, and it's supposed to be like a biblical movie. So, because like it typically in canon legends, whatever, typically the Force was started by the brother and the sister.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be how this goes. But I'm actually kind of interested because there's an all-powerful, I think, Abeloth that.
When you say the brother and sister, you're talking about the sister that gave her like life force to
be an owl. Yeah.
Yes.
That follows Ahsoka around.
Yes, it follows Ahsoka. So, and then the brother's obviously the evil one. And then there's Abeloth, who was their caretaker. That she goes elsewhere after she bathes in it bathes in these waters that give her all these dark side powers.
Of Mandalorian. No.
Yeah. Right. But and she ends up being the most powerful entity in Star Wars legends. Only person that can take her down is Luke, Grandmaster Luke. But obviously we're going back this far. This is what we wanted, but this is before the Old Republic. So
we're getting close.
I know. I'm like, you know what? That's just perfect, isn't it? Where we're like talking like we need Old Republic. And they're like, yeah, let's just skip that and jump way back farther. Which I don't mind either. But
is this going to come out after Acolyte or before? Or have they not said?
It'll be after, I'm sure, because Acolyte's coming. So, I mean, Acolyte's in...
I was kind of sad. They didn't drop a trailer for that, right? Because I kind of...
Acolyte?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
well, they had a behind closed doors screening, like, of a couple snippets. And I was watching when that was going on, and there were people that were leaking it, and then you'd watch it, you'd get 5 seconds, and they would cut it. So there were some interesting parts in there. I mean, what I saw really was just like, it's going to be a really, really grounded series. I think similar shots of Andor, but you're dealing with, obviously acolytes.
Something's coming.
Apparently my computer just unmutes itself.
Yep,
so.
Acolytes. Acolytes, it seems like it's going to be more or less I mean, traditionally the Sith always go underhanded against each other. So that's kind of what I think that they're going to explain, obviously, how the Sith Order worked at one point or another, because they don't even have acolytes anymore in canon. So it's like...
Right, that's kind of why I was wondering about when it came time with this movie, because that would be kind of cool if the movie kind of came... You said it was a movie, right? But with the Mangold?
Yes.
Yep. It'd be kind of cool if it came out and then we had something that was acolytes, because it kind of make sense that that's where the acolytes would come from in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hope this goes
come after the fact. That works too.
I hope it digs deep. I hope it really truly because the thing is, what's actually even more cool about it is that the planet from Jedi Fallen Order, the initial planet where you're going and you're finding about the origins of the Jedi, that first planet you go to that you're going through all the mazes and the stone structures and stuff and jumping from island to island. That's supposed to be where Jedi only resided for ever so long, until they were driven from there by the Sith. Huh. So obviously this, I think it's going to be obviously shot, mostly has to be on that planet, probably before the Force was something that people knew how to tap into. And then this is a religion, so they said a biblical epic of a type of movie.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds...
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Pretty...
I think I would say that Acolyte and that might be my most looking forward to Star Wars projects. They both just sound like right up my alley. Especially if you're saying that from what little snippets you saw of Acolyte were giving you Andor vibes. Get that back into my veins immediately.
Like Sith fighting hand to hand. That's what I saw, and I'm in one of those videos. So I'm they were in a bar, and I saw one of them hit him in the chest, and they slid back on the ground and braced themselves, and then put their hand out forward, and that's when it cut off. I'm like, why?
Well, I was just getting the hotness.
I'm like, why are you doing this to me? But no, it looks good. I'm excited for that. Obviously, went back farther than we wanted, but to me, all that does is open the door for now we can fill in between. They can pick parts from Old Republic lore and make movies on that and fill in the gaps there. Because if we're willing to go back this far, all of this material right here is your next 40 years of material.
Oh yeah, speaking of the visions, didn't one of the characters to me almost look like it was Malgus?
Malgus, the first one.
Yeah, the first one looked like Malgus.
I saw that and I was like, oh, please.
Literally, when he was walking through the door, I saw his head. I go, no. I was like, don't do this to me. You already did.
Probably not, but yeah.
No, yeah. They gave me enough hope when the new expansion for KOTOR was Malgus's return. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed. We're good on that. But obviously, we'll move on to the next part. I know you guys are dying to hear about.
What is it?
Drop that hotness.
New trilogy.
Hell yeah!
And then we had him in the first half. Daisy Ridley's back.
Damn, what a dick.
and it's 15 years after Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley, Rey, Palpatine is rebuilding the Jedi.
About Rey, nobody. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, don't worry, Ahsoka can still fix this in the world between worlds.
Yep,
that's right, baby.
It's never too late. Maybe everybody should really die this time. No one ever really dies.
Yeah, maybe the New Order should win. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's headed up by the heir to the Empire, I don't care what they do. So, yeah. I mean, obviously that is what it is. How do you guys feel? Obviously, I mean, to me, I'm not mad that she's coming back. I just hope that they do the character more justice, because the character's not dead to me. They just had so many mistakes that I don't know exactly which ones you're going to be able to come back from.
Good on her. Excited. It takes some balls to step back into this universe after her reception.
Absolutely.
Good on her. Redeem her character, because
Yep.
Daisy Ridley was not the problem with
No.
Right, exactly. And that's
So-
probably why she was willing to come back, because she probably just knew, like, wait, no, they don't hate my character. They don't hate me. They hate the stupid-ass movies and the way they were written about my character. Just, yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, I mean, when you saw that interview with her and Mark Hamill talking about how Rian Johnson, they're like, I fundamentally disagree with the way that you're writing this movie.
Yeah.
And Daisy Ridley goes, yeah, there's so many things that we shouldn't be getting caught by surprise. You know, like these characters are who they are, and you just completely fundamentally change everything about the people that we've watched for 30 years. You know,
It was
20
just a
years.
little, I don't know, the character... It was just a little much that she's, I don't know. But again, now it's 15 years later, so I said to him that she'll just be all-powerful, like, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, because we also don't
She kind of
know.
already was.
Well, right.
Well, right.
And-
but now, like, you can at least say, like, well, I mean, what's she been doing for 15 years? Like,
Lifting rocks.
Yeah, lifting rocks and stuff.
Must have been. I mean, that's the thing. Convening with those Force ghosts that obviously she can already see. You know, at the end of the movie, she got access to hear all of the Jedi that came before her. I mean, that's going to be what, in my opinion, I think you're right. I don't think she'll be quite Grand Master in 15 years, but I think that she'll be a Jedi Master. She's going to have been convening with Qui-Gon and Yoda and all these people, Luke and Leia and all these people, because she can already see them and communicate with them. It wasn't something she had to be taught like Obi-Wan did. I mean, so her ability to tap into all this knowledge is endless. So in that 15 years, I mean, do we even know who she has with her at that point? I mean, is there somebody from another part of the galaxy, a Cal Kestis or something like that, is he old as dirt and just existing out there? Is he a grandmaster by now? Is
An
he
old ass shit Cal Kestis is an old as shit Ezra Bridger.
Right.
Jeez.
Cheering along with a middle-aged Rey.
Right. I mean, and then you have all the
And
kids.
the verdict is still out if Ahsoka was actually dead or not.
Right.
A lot of people are like, well, she
been
could have
dead
just been
before.
alive somewhere off world and just talking to her through the Force, which, I mean, at that point, it's possible.
Right. I mean, dude, after the Palps...
Vader was able to do it, so, like...
After Daddy Palps came back...
Daddy Palps.
There you go. Or Granddaddy Palps, I'm sorry.
Daddy Pal.
Oh my god.
Daddy Palps. That took you a minute, too. That's even better. So obviously, we know they're doubling down on the sequel trilogy. One thing that Daisy Ridley did say in one of her interviews recently was that, it's going to be interesting to see how people's perceptions of that sequel trilogy change over time if they're able to reconcile the mistakes in this trilogy. And, because that's the thing with the prequels, nobody liked those until 10 years later.
Yeah,
and then they just blow up. So, I mean, I'm not saying that these things are going to do the same thing. I think they're far from anywhere near the quality of the prequels, but... I'm not saying there's moments in there, and I was even trying to do this on purpose. I was watching the most meaningful moments in the sequel trilogy to see if there's anything that I can be like, okay, we can use that and build on that. And there's a few things, and I think the Prime Jedi thing is awesome that they're doing that, because the only time the Prime Jedi thing has been explained is in The Last Jedi. And so now we're doing an entire movie on it 25,000 years ago. And it's going to be
I wonder if that could almost just be like a red herring for maybe one to appear then in the new sequel trilogy.
Which opens
That'd be
great
interesting.
opportunity for the Grey Jedi concept. Because there's not supposed to be any. George Lucas said there's not a Grey Jedi. You are this or you are that, or you go from one to the other and back and forth, but you're never both at the same time. He's said this already. But right now it doesn't really matter what he says, because they're doing what they want anyway.
Tell that to old Dave Filoni, who made a giant friggin' space creature, basically able to wield both anyway.
True, that's true.
Dude's chill one minute, then the next minute he's causing a thunderstorm on a planet moving in clouds, terrorizing everything in his path. Because he got mad. Wonder if you're using the dark side there a little bit.
Was that the space hippo that was just kind of in the, or whatever it was?
Space hippo.
It looked like a cartoon drawn hippo that was just like sitting, a big old fat thing.
You were a big old guy.
And, yeah. I mean, I'm just hoping that they can right some of the wrongs. You're not going to right them all, but I think that there's an opportunity there for, like you say, a gray Jedi to come through, like a Darth Revan or a Revan type of character. That would be something that I think a lot of people could get behind because of how successful Mandalorian was. I think that ominous, mysterious, one-man army of a person, people love that shit. And that's like Vader.
Look at John Wick.
Bingo. And, I mean, obviously that type
Heard he kills like over 50 people in the first 20 minutes in the new one.
Did you see what he did for his stunt actors? He bought him a shirt saying how many times they died in the movie. And he bought them all their own individual shirts as a gift on set. It's all the stuff. So you died 12 times. You got a shirt that said 12, and it was the movie logo and stuff. I was like,
that's actually pretty cool.
Sweet. That's awesome. But, man, there's just... Obviously, we'll get to the hottest of the hot. Ahsoka. And that shit was phenomenal. Now, I have not been this hype for a series in such a long time, and I think I know why. And this is kind of a sidebar, so I don't want to touch on it too much because there's not really a whole lot on it. Favreau was going to leave Disney, LucasArts, everything. He was going to leave Star Wars Productions completely because of Kathleen Kennedy. Apparently in Mandalorian Season 2, the only reason that Grogu came back and reunited with Din is because she made him do it. He was supposed to stay with Luke.
You mean in Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, well, right.
Yeah.
And how they all kind of came back together. I mean, essentially that was Season 2A of, Mandalorian or 2B or whatever.
Right.
And that was her decision. It was forced on him. And then, of course, the Gina Carano firing was forced on him from Kathleen Kennedy as well, and he came out and said that. So he said, and this is a direct quote, I think, if they're going to do whatever, he says, if they're going to act like this, then they can do whatever the F they want. And he said he's going to leave, and then Disney CEO comes in and says, what do you need to stay? And he says, Mandalorian Season 3 to be what I want it to be, and also... Because during
Bob Iger, no, I'm cleaning this up. What do you need to happen? Fire her, stupid ass.
Seriously.
Should have fired her after that goddamn trilogy, you idiot.
Right.
Just you're probably right.
Yeah, I like how he just circumvents her. He's like, yeah, no, we're just A-B conversation, just move around. What do you
totally circumvented her because of what I just said.
Exactly.
That's 100% a thing.
Absolutely. We all know that. That's for damn sure. I mean,
critics, you can like movies all you want, but when your actual fan base just continually shits on a whole trilogy constantly, that's bad for Disney's business.
Yeah. And,
I don't care how much of the generation behind us and even younger generations like said character that you're not really all too thrilled about coming back. And no, the majority of the fandom is us, Gen Xers and Boomers. Damn it.
True.
And that stuff sucked, and we want it gone.
Right. And based off that, what we got from that was he walked away from Mandalorian. That's why you stopped seeing his name on a lot of things related to the Mandalorian.
That makes a lot of sense.
So he moved and he said, screw you, I'm going to go work on Ahsoka in peace and leave me alone. And that's what he did for all this time where we've been seeing more Filoni influence and less Favreau influence.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, honestly, from the trailer, it literally looks like the direct sequel to Star Wars Rebels, just after the time jump that's at the end of the show.
Yep, so let's get into it.
What's
your favorite part? What's your least favorite part, if there is one? Well, go ahead.
From the trailer?
Yes.
My favorite part was the fact they recreated the end shot from the fucking cartoon in live action. It's shot for shot the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's incredible.
It's pretty sick.
Sensational.
So it's legitimately picking up. So who knows if it's just a one episode thing or it's maybe a flashback or what? Who knows? But it's picking up essentially like right where Rebels ended. My least favorite thing is like whatever the hell. What are these new? What's this whole thing now with more Sith?
Okay, so here's the thing with that. To my knowledge, from what I can see, those aren't blood red sabers.
Yeah, and Filoni confirmed that they got a tin of orange on purpose.
Yes, which typically orange, as far as I remember it, was conflicted dark and light, from what I understand.
Which would make sense because I think I saw an interview with was Ray Stevenson, the one who plays
Balin.
Yes.
He said that basically he won't stop to get like what he wants done, but like if somebody like basically gets in his way, he'll at least politely ask them to get out of his way and let him do his thing. But if not, then he's just going to go straight.
Well, that makes sense with it. Looks like we're going to get a hot hallway scene from him. Deflecting that shit like Vader, and I was like, okay, we're doing this again.
And dude, heavy vibes of the Eternal Empire, Emperor. What's his name? From the Old Republic games.
Oh God, we should know this. We just tried playing this game, but then we quit.
The Emperor who had of the Eternal Empire, who had the two sons.
Oh, yeah, I saw somebody else point out that he looks a lot like him, and I was like,
and the fact that he was in the world between worlds.
I was gonna say the one shot looks like when Ahsoka meets him. It looks like they're in the world between worlds.
It does. I will say I also saw another wild theory. I think was it Star Wars Theory actually that maybe posted it. He had a theory that maybe Balin could be Anakin from like an alternate timeline
because they're using
scene. It would be almost as if
that's actually what I thought too, because of the fact they're doing this world between world things, and I was like, well, she could technically go back in time, or like
I think his theory was he could go back in time to where Mustafar, or she could go back to Mustafar and talk to Anakin. So basically preventing him from fighting Obi-Wan and basically getting destroyed. So like you would actually get like a prime like a healthy,
Anakin,
that's kind of torn between
and
being
I was like
that Jedi and
being that is out there, but
that is actually what my brain started thinking when I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, like could it be that he is like an older Anakin that's from a different timeline?
The age lines up.
And
then the hallway scene would make even more sense because
it really
it's like,
would.
Because it's
and then you have and then you have the young female Snips type of apprentice, of course. Gotta love that too. With the Haiti, what's her name? Haiti Shin Hati is her name.
Yeah,
that's the apprentice apparently to Balin. So.
I mean, I legitimately, my brain actually went that way too for a minute, because when I realized, like, oh, they're in World Between the Worlds, well, she can technically travel through time with that.
Yeah,
Anakin,
when he put that out, I was like,
well, and two,
that's a big punch to throw. I don't know how the fan base would take that.
Well, and even in Rebels,
that might divide it.
That'd be pretty arbitrary.
But in Rebels, when Ezra saves Ahsoka, like, Anakin, before he even pops the portal open, Anakin, like, you see him, like, his eyeball that you can see through his Vader mask, he, like, glances over to the spot Ezra's gonna be. Like, he was already feeling him before he, like, broke time and space to save her.
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of another reason why I'm like, is this Balin dude actually just an alternate Anakin that just never lost the fight? Or, like, never had said fight, and he was still like, well, okay, fine, and then he comes from a universe where Palpatine wouldn't have won, obviously.
Because he would have crushed Palps if he would have continued training. He would have annihilated him.
Because that's the thing, is like, is this Balin and this apprentice of his, are they working? They don't seem like they're working with the actual Empire, because they got the same droids that Grievous had.
Well, here's the
thing. That are wielding like the
Right.
The double-ended
pole armed kind of
pole arms.
Yeah, kind of pole arms with the vibro blades. Vibro blades.
Yeah.
Vibro
It looked
staff.
like there was another Inquisitor too.
Well, and that's what I'm kind of wondering because these
I noticed that too.
They don't have Darth titles. So this is a very unorthodox type Sith, if they are Sith at all. Because they've only called them Force sensitives. They haven't called them Sith in anything that I've seen thus far. It's always been Force sensitives. And here's the thing: there's always two, no more, no less. We know that, blah blah blah. But then again, Disney could just say, "F that, we're gonna do what we want," and then. But I'd be okay with the Legion of Sith, but that's not where they're gonna go. However, I think with them having first and last names, I think that they're going to be more your traditional fall to the dark side by way of the dark side finding you, because I don't think that they're going to be. I mean, all that would be cool, his theory, but they've got names. I mean, is Anakin changing his name to Balin?
Yeah, you probably would do that.
And that's the thing is, if they didn't have names, if they were like Malgus or or Millennial, like Darth Millennial. If they had like those tag names, I would say they
Bane.
Right, Bane. So it's like they all have real names, but they are not known by that anymore. So if they have full names and they're operating under any kind of Sith capacity, I don't think they come from a traditional order of Sith.
Right.
So that's interesting idea, and maybe we'll find out more about this in Acolyte. Maybe that because maybe in the books the two Sith. The rule of two only applied to the people who were in the Sith order at that time. Anything outside of it in Legends, there were Sith everywhere operating in the shadows. But
yeah,
that's all just arbitrary. But dude, they're bringing Thrawn back. I mean, and Lars Mikkelsen is playing Thrawn.
They showed Hera and Chopper too.
Yes, yes, and Sabine and dude. And Ahsoka with the heir to the Empire reference.
Sabine has long hair, not into it. Chop that shit off. Make it look like the character.
Hair can't grow?
No. No. Forbidden.
Forbidden. No, I mean, the heir to the Empire reference. So, heir to the Empire, I'm not sure if you know, is Timothy Zahn's first... The non-canon books for Thrawn. Heir to the Empire was the first set. And so when she says he's supposed to be the heir to the Empire, I was like, thank you.
So they might actually adapt those books after all.
Oh, dude. And the thing is, if they do, it still works, except the way that they end. Because Thrawn I hate to say it. Spoilers. He dies in the first original on the end of the third book. Somebody stabs him in the back. They're non-canon, but they kill him. He's dead. Done so.
Hell yeah.
The new 6 books that are canon, obviously still open-ended because he's still alive. But
right.
But
because they got to cater to this timeline.
Right. So they come back, and the heir to the Empire thing, that's cool as hell. That's a great homage to Timothy Zahn and where that character actually started. I just don't want them to... and I've said it before, ruin this character and the depth and complexity that he has because they want him to be the big bad. He's not all bad. He's not evil. He's not evil. He can do evil things because he has a means to his ends. But I hope they don't skip over that and try to make him another just big bad. Everything he does is evil and it's nefarious. I hope they don't do that because literally the last book, the book that we were listening to on the way back, is called Greater Good. He does everything for the greater good of the Chiss Ascendancy. That's the only reason. He's trying to get the Empire under his control so that he can fight against the Grisk.
Yeah.
There's the vid.
Lost you on video, but we will continue with the audio for now.
That's right, baby.
But no, the Grisk are basically, and that's what I think Ahsoka was referring to when she says, I sense something dark coming. Something dark. And I think that it's the Grisk coming to invade because they are immune to the Force.
Oh, those guys, okay.
The Yuuzhan Vong. They're basically the Yuuzhan Vong. They're the canon replacement of the Yuuzhan Vong in Legends. Because Legends, the Yuuzhan Vong come and they're all these giant warrior creatures they're immune to the Force, and the Jedi still have to fight him, and it's just a massacre. But
Kind of an interesting twist.
yes, and then the Grisk come, and what the Grisk do, and what you were saying earlier about they implant themselves, and they can get people to think, and they're telepathic, so they can change the way of thinking of senators and stuff to pit them against each other and take over systems. So
It's a spicy meatball.
it sure is. And in the book, we're listening on the way back, and Jixtus is a Grisk, and he basically uses the different houses of the Chiss ascendancy against each other to try to take them down, because the Chiss are like literally the all-powerful, warlike culture, and if you stand up to the Chiss, they stomp you out. And so that's essentially what he's trying to protect, and he knows that even the Grisk can bring them down, because they pretty much almost do all the way throughout the last book. They're essentially, they're like pushing a button away from firing on each other, because he's pitting them against each other. And he has a meteorite that they orbit around the Chiss home planet, that once it gets into proper alignment, shoots a missile out that will obliterate the entire planet. And they're trying to like set this all up and make them argue with each other until they can get it set. And but I can't wait, because dude, Thrawn is just such an amazing character, and it's such a rich character development. I just hope they don't F it up.
They'll be fine.
I think it's a good sign if they got the original voice actor to come do it live action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a pipe dream for us a couple months ago. We were like, there is no way they're going to get him to do that. Nope.
First then he was like, no, I haven't been contacted. Well, that was a lie. You lied to us. It's okay, though. I'm very happy.
I'm glad you Andrew Garfield fielded us. I can't fucking talk today.
But that's obviously the next big thing coming out. I don't think I've been more excited for a Star Wars release than this one. Almost ever.
As somebody who doesn't know nearly as much as you guys do about these characters, looks cool. Can't wait.
Super dope.
Give me somebody who's dual wielding blades, lightsabers. Yeah, I'm there. It looks cool.
Speaking of which, did you see the new cover on the Star Wars comics from Marvel?
Mm-mm.
No, see that? It had Luke Skywalker, Grandmaster Luke, holding a green and a red lightsaber.
Oh wait, no, I did see something about that.
Sweet.
This is true, so.
In Legends, he used to have a short red blade and a long green one.
That's pretty sweet.
Dope. And it was his dad's. Yeah, that's sweet.
Oh man. Did you also see that? I think it came out today too. That Ewan McGregor came out and said he would like to do a second season of Kenobi.
Yeah, and then Kathleen kind of shot it down a little bit, but she didn't deny that it would happen, but she says that it's not even in discussion right now, which could be a complete lie, based off everything we hear, even with Nicholson. Nah, I haven't heard nothing about Thrawn.
I
Confirmed.
I just don't know that I want that, just because it's like, you can't do Vader.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Trying to do the math here on this fact, but this tweet is saying how Grogu will technically be 91 years old when Rey is building the Jedi Order in the new sequels. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, but at around the age of 100 is when Yoda became a Jedi Master.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet dude.
Oh, yeah.
Disney knows. Disney knows.
If you think for a second that they're not going to utilize Grogu being in full Mandalorian armor,
I was gonna say he'll be
with
in
Yoda's lightsaber
in the Outer Rim, dedicated to the Way, leading Mandalorians against this asshole that thinks she's gonna bring the Jedi Order back. Hell nah, dude. Second War, let's go, baby. That's what the sequel trilogy needs to be about. Let's get some live-action Mandalorians and Jedi fighting here. Let's go, baby. Prime time.
I would take that 100%.
However,
However,
Bo-Katan brings the Children of the Watch and traditionalist Mandalorian or New Age Mandalorians together. She's getting real close with Grogu, who obviously he becomes a Mandalorian and learns the way. Obviously, that's the way we're going. That's what Kathleen wants for us. I'm looking at you, and but down the line, who's to say that against a force like the Grisk, that the Mandalorians and the Jedi of the New Order come together to fight against the Grisk? That would be next level hot shit.
So yeah, I would see them more working together than against each other. I just don't see Star Wars pitting.
Oh no,
Rey
they
and
wouldn't.
Grogu
They won't do
against
that.
each other.
They've already done that a long time ago. And that's why I don't think they've shot the movie. Yeah, the Mandalorian Jedi Civil War was like a massacre. It literally brought both of them to the brink of extinction.
See, I think the idea of that as a movie sounds cool. I just don't think Star Wars is going to put Rey and Grogu against each other.
Oh god.
Oh no,
No.
not at all. No, I mean he's such a beloved character, and I know why Kathleen they did what they did with bringing him back to Mando, because that was like the father-son loving type of thing that like a lot of female watchers, not necessarily all, but like inexperienced to the Star Wars lore, the cuteness of Grogu and the cuteness of him interacting with Din as dad. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think that they were prepared to let that go, which kind of sucks because we get less Jedi training. But I think that we'll get that. We'll either get the implied nature that the training continued, or we'll get snippets of because he trained with him for 2 years. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen what he can do yet.
Yeah.
And if he's training with Mandalorians, he's going to be a bad mamma jamma that knows how to use the Force.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying. He might be more dangerous than.
It would actually be kind of cool once. I know you said Yoda's lightsaber if he showed up in the trilogy, but he needs to show up with a dark saber.
Oh my god! Or a mini dark saber. What hilarious.
Right.
An old Bo-Katan steps up.
A dark shiv. He's got the dark shiv. No, it's exciting, man. This is. I mean, obviously, Star Wars Celebration brings this every year. They bring the heat, and this year was no exception. I didn't expect all these movies to be released or anything to really be talked about. There's just been so much rumor and so much speculation. I didn't expect them to drop this much heat, but they sure did.
They dropped a lot of fire.
I did. I was the whole thing. I was kind of shocked at like all of it. Just wow.
And it just kept coming, like more.
All these people coming back, all this hot shows coming out. I'm ready for all
James
of it.
Mangold is a huge get.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thrilled that he's linked for DC and Swamp Thing. He's been wanting. Apparently, it's a passion project of his. I was like, oh yeah, we'll at least get one banger out of these movies.
Well, and that's what they said too. Is that they're like, well, we don't really know what that's going to look like timeline wise of this movie because he's so unbelievably swamped with other projects. Swamp Thing, but I'm like, yeah, I would anticipate this will probably be 2024, late 2025, if anything. And that's being generous, but because I didn't think that they were expected. But honestly, I didn't think they were expected to release this quick. But when they saw DC and Marvel taking a step back to focus on the quality in individual movies, I think they were like, okay, let's go. Let's get this out there. Like, let's get this out there when it's the only thing to watch. Mm-hmm. And then obviously that's going to bring the viewership anyway. But
hopefully it just doesn't ruin the quality.
Exactly. That was my next step. Yep.
Still take the time.
Yep, exactly. And I think it's relatively easy to do in the way that they shoot their projects, like especially with Mandalorian. Like you can use something like you'll see like all this extra effects in the background and prosthetics.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are one-piece prosthetics for a lot of these background actors and stuff. So I think a lot of the realism that we see is because of those prosthetics, and the CGI doesn't have to be such a focal point,
Right.
But I'm excited. I just can't wait till everything starts dropping. But next we got. You want to do batch?
Sure.
Batch finale.
Well, let's do the reviews. Let's get into the reviews. News is done.
News is done.
We're done with the news. Real quick though,
More news.
The Marvels trailer drops tomorrow, so we'll have that to discuss this upcoming later in the week.
That'd be nice. Well,
I don't know why I'm even trying to
The batch finale.
The batch finale.
Man, I don't know about you guys, but since this season as a whole was like not interesting to me, I barely paid attention to this.
I had to watch it like 3 times to like really
Wow.
get it all.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we're on vacation. Obviously, it's a little bit different. But
Well, yeah. Yeah, I actually really liked these 2 episodes. I was like, where was this all season?
By
this is kind of
comparison.
annoying, but I was...
Well,
also,
yeah, there's-
spoilers, I just might as well throw it up here, I guess.
There's an actual plot
Right.
to these episodes, that was good. Yeah.
The theory ended up holding true.
yeah, I was gonna say. I literally put in my notes. Jordan called it about tech. I was like, oh, that.
He'll be back the first episode of the next season on some bullshit, probably.
He'll probably be strapped to a bed in Tantus.
So,
Exactly.
this is the thing, is like, I almost
Like-
get the impression that maybe he
Hey.
didn't die.
Hey.
Because when the boy comes in with his goggles or whatever, he's like,
Yeah.
this is all that remain. I was
Yeah.
like, is it though?
Hey,
It's like a pout fly to piss somebody off.
no
and drive them
one's
to the dark
ever
side.
truly gone.
Yeah.
Look at Daddy Pops.
Look at Ray Palpatine.
He still exists.
Just when we thought we were gone.
I cannot wait for this stupid fucking argument again all over the internet. Palpatine Skywalker. Again,
She
I
identifies
think
as a
leaving.
Skywalker.
I think leaving her is just like she was just a nobody that was extremely force sensitive. Probably should have just left it at that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree. I think that's actually a little more compelling.
Yeah,
No.
but the batch, he died. But got cooked.
Homeboy.
Oh, God.
So you had said earlier in the season that if the theory turned out true, you would feel completely different about this season. Do you feel completely different about this season?
I feel bad. I do feel differently. I like the direction that it when
First
it came
reporting,
when it-
J-Sib asking the important questions here.
yeah, no, it hits differently. It has more substance with the way that it ended. It does have much more substance, although, I mean, you can't explain away and you can't justify how lackluster a lot of the episodes were. But, because in my opinion, we could have gotten here a lot sooner. There wouldn't have been as much fatigue of a long season. Like, when there's 5 or 6 filler episodes, you could have just made this a 10 or 11 episode season, and it would have been just as satisfying. But, I mean, I guess more content?
And so the place they broke into there because they're trying to figure out exactly where Crosshair is, correct?
Correct. They're going to, because they had no
Okay.
idea where he was, and they needed to
Alright,
rescue him.
Gotcha.
Good old Titan Tower. It's just a big tall T. I was like, they straight up put Titan Tower in this bitch.
Was it really a tall thing? I just missed it.
That's what it
God
looked like.
I missed that.
I just-
Big old Titan Tower. Got Dick Grayson up there like, you go get those goddamn clones right now.
Get Clone
Bruce
Force
is
99 off the streets. Yeah, but, I mean, honestly, to me, obviously, it's a 2-parter, so I guess we can kind of talk it all the way through just as the finale, because...
Honestly, it kind of feels just like one long episode. They basically it ends, immediately picks up where it ended. So
Right.
Exactly, and, I mean... I thought that the way that it all went down with this Imperial officer just walking up and saying, gotcha, I'm not here for you, here for her. It was like a 2-minute scene of that, like, they've been avoiding for 31 episodes.
Do you
of the
know
show.
why I actually don't care about this finale and I kind of hated it?
Why?
Why in the hell did they run back to Sid?
Right. Especially after everything that they just put you through. She put you through.
The last
You
half
leave
of
her.
the season is about how they want to get away from her, and they basically, a few episodes back, decided to do that. So now when you go on the run, you just lost a team member, it's like...
You go back to your least trusted companion.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it was lazy-ass writing for it to end the way that it ended.
And it happened in a 5-minute span.
Yeah.
They get back to her. Sorry, guys, sold you out. And then they just
It just made me. It just made me so upset.
It was anticlimactic, and that's
It just didn't make. It's just stupid to me for the development of the whole half of the season.
well. Don't worry, There's a whole nother season coming.
And that's exactly why this ending was written poorly, in my opinion, and ended the way it did, because they were like, well, let's make more money with one more season.
I guarantee it, because in my opinion, when I was watching the end of that, there was a clear supposed to be ending coming. And they were like, oh no, we can stretch this.
No, like, we can stretch it one more time.
I will say I can't disagree at all. That's actually probably my one main complaint, is that I was like, really? I think they would, like... So she has like a med bot there. Whenever it's like there's
it's the same.
So many med bots.
Yeah.
The AT-151.
It's that same one that they had in that lab on.
It's like okay, I get it, but it's like you could have gone plenty of other places for medical. Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but
yeah, I mean, considering how much heat you're under, and you're going to go to the person that like betrays you constantly as like a safe haven.
So stupid. It was just bad. Again, dumb, stupid writing.
The only thing good about it is like good. At least this finally ties the knot on Sid, and hopefully she's just gone and buried forever. Just get her out of here.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully next season's not going to be this stupid. We'll give you the hotness this week, and then we're going to go on Adventure of the Week for 3 or 4 episodes, and a little bit of hotness. Like,
yeah, I think with the way we're going, it looks like there's going to be some like unified direction.
I
especially
sincerely hope so.
Me too, and that's we talked about it plenty. We said, it's either got to end hot, or it's got to end now. Like this.
Here's what I will say is it ended at least strong enough for me, and what they set up for next season. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm coming back for a 3rd season.
Yeah.
Give me a lot more Tantus.
Granted, I agree with KP's point. Pretty fucking stupid you guys went back to Sid of all people. But the things you set up for next season,
right?
I'm intrigued.
If they give me Tantus and we really dig into the Emperor's secrets and stuff like that, because Mount Tantus is where he keeps all of his Sith artifacts and everything. He keeps all of his like wayfinders and everything in that mountain. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more cherries on top.
Well, like you said with the hilarious that meme from the Nick Cage movie and Pedro, it's just like the fans thinking they're gonna retcon it, and it's just like no, they're just tying it all together. He's just laughing.
Nick Cage on LSD, and he's like looks at him.
He just like, looks at him, and
it's like Filoni. It's like Filoni doubling down.
It's Nick Cage. It just says the fans who think that Filoni and all them are retconning the sequel trilogy, and it just shows Pedro and he's smiling. It says when they're actually like just connecting the pieces together and providing the background context and justifying the like Emperor being cloned. I mean,
we were dying.
She even we were dying laughing at it. Dying laughing at it. And I mean, she does. Yeah, she even says like to that scientist, she's like, what he seeks is not possible.
Exactly.
And that's the whole point with like Grogu, is because I believe the idea is that again it all boils down to midichlorians. Yeah, those pesky midichlorians.
That M count, baby.
That M count.
Replicating midichlorian count in blood.
In blood.
And that's what they're saying is impossible. But Sith know that's not impossible.
Right.
And I mean, Anakin's a walking, talking example of that. But it's the last person that can do it got knocked off by Daddy Palps. So Plagueis was the last one that could do that.
Right.
So
that's the thing, is he's trying to actually use modern science to basically get to where he was at the Rise of Skywalker, which is like I can at least get into a body that has a midichlorian count.
Yep. And still maintain my current shell.
Because like the whole thing when he says in the Rise of Skywalker movie, when he's like, I've died before, he's like basically saying like, yeah, I die, but then I like live through the Force for a hot minute, and then I go like a demon spirit.
A vessel.
Yeah, like a demon spirit. He finds an empty vessel of a body, and then he like inhabits it.
As long as they have the midichlorians to manipulate, to control.
But that's the whole idea behind like the Snoke clones were really just, can we do this? And then they figured out with Snoke, okay, it is possible. and then like I don't know, he just comes back that way. It's pretty open.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I know we always kind of poke fun at it when he comes back to life, and everybody was always dogging on it. They're like, "Oh, you just had to bring him back." Every Sith in the history of Sith died and came back to life for the most part. I mean, even Plagueis. Plagueis died countless times, and it just regenerate, or Bane, or Millennial, or Malgus. Any of them. Malgus, I don't even know how he's even in one singular piece. He gets blown up so many times, and it's like, obviously he looks mangled and everything towards the end of it, but
barely.
Right, and then
considering what he's been through, he's like, we'll give him a little burn scar mark on the side. I was like,
when he came back in the newest trailer, when he's like, if he finds that apprentice and he kind of turns her against her master, because her brother wasn't picked and she was, and it kind of vilifies the Jedi, saying they only take who they want and they leave everybody else behind, and that's kind of when he comes back. He looks great too.
Yeah,
he's been chilling in some Bacta or something because he looks great.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't have a half a mouth. Like, it's like when he got his face blown up on that planet by Grandmaster Shan. Yeah, Shan. Yeah. He puts his face up and you see his whole jaw and teeth, and you're like, okay, well now let's see why you wear the mouth guard, the breather,
Right.
But no, he looked great there. I'm like, all these Sith just regenerate over time. It's like, well, Darth Bane.
Hell yes.
Darth Bane, he used to cover himself in leeches that sucked his blood and caused him pain, just so his dark side energy would be higher because of the pain and anger that he felt. Because
but that's not canon, right?
Arguably, no, yes, because
no, yes.
as much
I'm just saying,
as much as they made the Sith
in Clone Wars, Darth Bane was just a dude inhabiting a dead tomb,
which is how it ended in the Legends book. And
that don't mean shit.
And his spirit and his Force ghost inhabits his armor that's in the tomb. That's pretty much what it is, and he can still communicate with anybody that walks down there. Except for Yoda scared the shit out of him, apparently, even though he would never fall backwards to Yoda or anybody.
Yeah,
he thought he was the greatest ever, but no, no. We always poke fun at it, but they Sith always die and come back to life.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Omega having a sister?
So yeah, that was interesting, right?
Very interesting.
And I kind of also wondered from the time we saw her before that I was looking at her and I was like, that kind of looks like an older Omega. And yeah, so I wasn't...
Which is weird, because what does that mean? Because I thought Omega and Boba were special.
Well,
but then I saw somebody else...
She's special.
I saw somebody else theorize that maybe she's not a clone. Maybe she's actually a daughter of, like, Jango or Boba or something like that. It would be Jango then.
It would be Jango.
Possibly. The only other thing I could think is that she's just... Because it looks like she's aging faster than Omega.
I was going to say, she might just be a female that's like the clones, that she just has she has accelerated age.
Yeah, she could be named, Alpha, for all we know, and that was the first trial in making whatever she is, and then Omega is the one that they wanted, for their whatever experiment that they're doing that's tying into the sequel trilogy. So,
right.
At Mount Tantus, that's why I'm so excited, because Mount Tantus is so unexplored as far as canon is concerned. There's tons of shit on it in Legends, but...
Is Tantus a Titan Tower?
Tantus is the mountain where they bring him. It has the band around the middle at the end where they bring her and they...
Oh, okay.
That's Mount Tantus. Yeah, that's like Palpatine's private fortress that he holds all of his artifacts in, including all of his clone technology and everything. So that's why it's interesting. I think so much of that stuff that was on the Sith homeworld when he was out in BFE in the wild space, that I think a lot of that came from Tantus. A lot of his scientists and everything like that. So.
Oh, in Exegol? Yeah.
Because you see a lot of the same equipment.
True.
I think and I think it's also lends in again to another cool part in Battlefront. When you play the story mode, you get to play as Luke, and you go and you find that Sith wafer. Not Sith. I think it's a holocron.
But, yeah, it should be a holocron.
Yeah, but he finds it in in Palpatine, one of his secret stashes, and you're playing as the secret, the special ops of the Empire during Operation Cinder. You go down, you have to blow it up, Luke saves you, and so then you let him take what he wants and then blow it up. So it's kind of all ties together in one way, shape, or form. So, but no, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing another season. I am, based off where they ended, because the possibilities of where they can go. I just hope that I'm glad this is it.
She'll probably, I'm sure her and Crosshair will work together to bust out of where they're at.
Right, or at least ruin whatever they're trying to do. Because my guess is, typical Star Wars fashion, he'll be that close to getting what he wants, and then they'll do something to escape and destroy all of the research or kill whoever had the knowledge to know how to do it or something.
Yeah.
I will say, Tech went out like a badass. I liked his final words were just like, when do we ever follow orders?
Yeah.
I was like, badass. Okay.
100% a Filoni moment in a Game of Show, too. Like the last words, have to be so powerful.
I'm just going to do a combined score for the two. 7-8. 7-7.
6.8.
I was going to say 7.
This might be, it probably is actually close to what you guys say, but compared to the rest of these episodes, it almost felt like an 8.
I get that. I do, but I just...
Trying to keep that baseline.
I've just got a real big problem with the finale episode, so whatever.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with it. They still have time to redeem themselves, and we'll see what they end up deciding to do, but I am glad that they confirmed that there's a new season and that it's the last one, so that we know that there's no more of this drag out. But then the pressure's on. They better deliver on every episode of this to bring it to a head. Otherwise,
if they do, it would have all been worth it.
Yeah, I mean, like
we're gonna tell people Bad Batch is cool. Second season sucks, but
second season, just skip this one, this episode. The rest are cool.
It's almost like, hey, you'll really love the first one. Bear with me on the second.
Yeah, gotta power through that second.
It'll get there, and then hopefully we end on the right foot. And then, because here's the thing, it's got to have some sort of semblance for another project that they're working on. Nothing goes dead, and so something's got to happen. It's got to be big.
Omega's got to be the clone that is the reason how somehow Palpatine returned.
Omega is Snoke. No, some people say Crosshair is Snoke. They've mutations.
They do kind of have similar face structure, I guess, in a way, if you kind of mangle them up a little bit.
Well, and the markings on his head for Snoke, like all the surgeries that he's had on his brain for his chip, they think that those are in line, and I'm like, oh, that's actually the most interesting theory that I've heard about that.
I mean, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't explain shit about the whole being very powerful with the dark side of the Force, but...
Right. Well, in my opinion, I think a lot of that, especially when he talks to him, when he's in Exegol, and he's like, I've been every voice that's been inside your head. And he does all
God, that is so sick.
That is awesome.
God, that movie opened so promising.
I know, dude. Especially when you saw Revan's face and everything.
I was actually talking with a coworker today, and I was like, she said to me, she goes, oh my God, you're right. I really don't remember the first part of that movie, and I was like, because 2 hours of it is just garbage. I was like,
a story that goes nowhere for 2 hours, and then it comes to a head, and
right?
Bingo.
And then it's like, finger snap, everyone's on this planet, final climactic Avengers Endgame battle, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. But then he shoots the fucking dude, I still think that's the coolest shit ever. I swear to you. You know what? I'll watch that movie again just for that part. When he's just like, you know what? I've had enough. And all the lightning comes out. Come on. That's sweet.
That's sweet.
You know what? I'll take
Bull hates your trilogy, but he'll give you that. He'll give you kudos.
You know what? And you know what? And here's what I hate to say, and I hate to be like this. I do hate to be like this, because this is usually not how I operate. But I am going to make a conscious effort after all this crap comes out, to rewatch those with all the different knowledge that I have based off of all these other series and see if I enjoy them anymore. Because I refuse to let them die, because they're not going to let them die.
See if Filoni can pull a rabbit out of a hat again, like he did
Bingo.
with the prequels.
Bingo. And you know what? Hey, fast forward 10 years. Now we have a new Jedi Order animated show. Filoni builds up a whole new world around Rey and the new Jedi Order, and then all of a sudden we're like, I just watched episode 7 again. And everything all makes fucking sense, and I'm sorry. and it all makes sense now. That's why I'm going to make a conscious effort after all this ends. All this Bad Batch and all this...
All this crap's going to come out, then we're going to finally say, like, holy crap, Last Jedi is actually amazing.
You can't get around the writing, but at least we can get on board with the content if they make it make sense. That's all I'm hoping for.
Shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Alright.
I believe. Mando.
The Mando.
Or is this
What
is this episode?
It's a Mandalorian.
Mando.
What is this, episode 5 and 6?
Sure.
Something like that.
Because I think the last... Isn't there
Correct.
only 8?
Because it's
only 8.
So yeah, I think there's only 2 more episodes left.
That is correct.
Yeah, because this is the pirate. It's
Yep.
the pirate, and then the next one, I can't remember what that one's called.
Old school investigation detective work is what the second one was.
Yeah. And
The second one is a fever trip.
It is. It's a mind F. And I love it because it's a new world. They show you enough of it for you to conceptualize that world.
Yeah, like episode 5 was just like,
oh my god, we're under attack by pirates.
Oh yeah.
Let's reach out to Din. Oh wait, we can't. Let's reach out to this Republic trooper guy so
you
he can
recognize that ship, didn't you?
What shit? What?
The Corsair.
Oh yeah.
First time they ever referenced that was where? Thrawn. The book series, the Corsair, that ship they were in. It's the first time it's ever been shown in live action or animation or anything. The Corsair model ship was from the Outer Rim. That style of ship was literally taken from the Outer Rim. Around Chila. Agbui? Is it an Agbui ship? I think it's an Agbui ship from the Outer Rim. It's another one of those kind of the pirate races where they go out and they just patrol the Outer Rim and roll through rogue space and rob people and kill people.
Right.
Which
is what they're trying to do this episode.
Yep, which is another
But, yeah, old boy, he's like, I need to get a hold of Din, but I can't. So instead he gets a hold of, so how does, the New Republic, like, same pilot, X-Wing pilot.
Yes.
He, gets the message.
I can't remember his name. Dang it.
And I just call him the cosplayer.
And that's the Delphi. That's the Delphi station, I think, right?
I think so.
Delphi, because they used to be Ghost Squadron. I think all of them used to be Ghost Squadron before they got stationed there.
Why would you say that? Is it because there's a hot, big old cuddly purple alien boy that shows up?
Little Zebby Zeb. Little Zebby
That
Zeb.
was an amazing cameo.
It really
made
was.
the episode for me. Not really, but I mean, it helped a lot.
And it was so
It went a long
good
way.
and well done. And it was the same voice actor and everything. It's just beautiful.
I saw the purple figure behind the guy walking up, and I was like, no.
And he walks like his legs.
Yeah, like I could. Yeah, I could see this.
Like,
I saw the leg
man.
move. I saw the leg move. I was like, oh my god, it's him.
And it's so cool. Dude. It's so cool. And the thing is, like, they're Ghost Squadron, obviously, and they were stationed at Delphi, out in the middle of nowhere. So, beginning, they're trying to get Din to be the marshal of Carl Weathers' spot. They wanted to be the. They
I
wanted to
always
stay.
forget the name of that place.
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
They say it a million times too.
Neomora. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. But
they say it a million times. It's where the show even
Navarro
starts.
There it is,
Navarro.
Yep. So that's
So yeah.
They
So
want him to stay. He says no, or no. He thinks about it, because they want to give him like
yeah, in a prior
property and place
episode
to
and stuff,
stay.
he's like, I'll think about it, but he leaves anyway. But
And that's when the pirates show up when he's
the
getting ready to
pirates
leave.
show back up, gonna ransack Navarro because they're like, they basically tell him that they're like, dude, we know you're bluffing and that the Republic doesn't actually help you, so we're gonna mess you up. And they do. So then he hails to the Republic and
They can't directly help.
they can't directly help. Tim Meadows is just like, nah, dog, can't.
It's like, I'd love to, and I know you have the best intentions, but
Tim Meadows.
sorry, bro.
Tim Meadows.
Well, and then they go to the Mandalorian covert because the
Well, he flies there, and they're like,
because
I love it.
is there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
He's like, I've been busting you guys out this whole time. He's like, I've been tracking him. I know you've been this whole time. He's
like, yeah.
Are like, bruh.
This is why we hate droids.
this is why we don't like droids. I love, dude, and the House Vizsla character.
Oh, the speech.
When he before that, even when the pilot shows up and he's like, he like says to him, he's like, you're not really welcome here, turn around, Blue. I was like, oh, that's so like, oh, I got chills.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, turn around, Blue. I was like, oh yes.
Oh,
I was like,
dude, he's such a badass, and I just do.
He's like one of my favorite characters.
Oh,
in the show. I love characters like that.
Gun.
yeah.
Like that, just he has an honor system. He has like a code. He just.
I do love the speech. He was like,
He thought it was going to go bad. The whole
he
time.
thought
I was really well. He was about to not be a favorite character.
Yeah.
They were going to write him like that, and then he did his face turn, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
he's
Yeah,
like, and
you're
why
so
should we do that? I was like, oh man.
I was like, you're about to get railroaded, and
Right.
your vote's
And,
going to go bad.
Yeah. It's just because you're Mandalorians. And I was like,
you're all
oh, okay.
And if you're all
Sweet.
doubting this, you're all a bunch of pussies.
Right.
That's what it was to me.
Right, dude.
He's like, you're Mandalorians, sack up, do what you got to do. This is what we do. And oh god, when he came in with that big old gun, just I go, you know what? I go, that's the least practical thing for a Mandalorian to be flying around with, but glad he is.
I like this. Yeah.
Thank
I
you
love
for your
it.
service.
Yeah, no shit.
I love the battle a lot. It was a little much that the armorer gets up to the tower and like one by one she just whoops these dudes' asses, and the gunner he must just not hear it or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, she basically gets him from behind, and I was like, okay, well, kind of a little much, whatever, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta give the armor a little moment.
Yeah. She's had a couple. I'm surprised. I'm happy they went that direction instead of just making her this like priestess.
Right.
Because that's everybody's on board. When the killing's business is booming, and she's got to be a part of it.
Can we just get to the real hotness of this episode? The armorer would like to speak with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixed feelings on this. Because
I don't care about these little kids and their hurt feelings. Din Djarin isn't your main character anymore. Okay, it's Bo-Katan.
And that's what it's supposed to be, and that's why I think that especially when they're like, oh, the Mandalorian, it's the Mandalorian, it's a Mandalorian, because that's all he ever wanted to be. It was a Mandalorian and just find his way in the galaxy. Very much so like Boba. I'm just a simple man finding his way through the
I'm just a
galaxy.
simple man.
With my child Jedi.
Yeah. And, I mean, especially that, with that aspect of him being responsible for a youngling. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you knew that he wasn't going to be the leader, but I think obviously Bo-Katan sees what we will talk about eventually. She finds his value to her because he's a lot more experienced in a lot more different aspects of even politics, which is surprising for him.
I do and then she like tells her to take her helmet off, but she hesitates, and then she parades her in front of all of them.
Yep, bring both the worlds together.
And she's like, bring both the worlds together, and like they're just like, okay, yeah, they're cool with it.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it took was somebody coming from the outside that wasn't part of their covert, and then having the impact that she's had, and then of course seeing the mythosaur. That's literally. When you see the mythosaur, that is the sign and legend that Mandalore is going to rise again. And now that she saw it, I mean, the armorer knows that she's pretty much the chosen one for them at that point.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of people that are divided, and that's what I mean by divided is they think that she may have an agenda because she does still at her core doesn't like Bo-Katan, and for her to just snap and change her feelings about her, they think that they may be setting her up for failure. She may be intentionally setting her up for failure to get them where they want to be so that they can take over.
Maybe.
That's what a lot of people are thinking, which would put Din in an awkward spot.
Possible.
So, yeah.
Well, we won't know because this next episode,
Take a little detour.
we're going to take a little detour.
It's going to be the Mandalorian reunion tour.
Yeah.
Bring them all together.
Bring them all together, yeah.
Oh, I give the last one an 8.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Straight 8.
Yeah,
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah, 8, yeah.
I would say 8 or 8.3. You know, between 8 and 8.5. You know, I could give it that because it's really solid. It was really solid, and you
Good
got to
fun
see
episode.
coordinated Mandalorian attack, which is
And-
awesome.
Yes.
I freaked out at the end of the episode. She was like, after she had to take her helmet off, and I was freaking out. I was like, is the armor about to take her helmet off? I was like,
Well,
what?
that's
I was
what
like, what is going on here?
That's actually what I was kind of thinking was going to happen. Was then she was going to take her helmet off, and it was going to be like, "Oh, surprise! It's this person!"
Yeah.
And like I was expecting that, but no, didn't get it, so that's okay.
And I just like, I just love the fact that she got chosen to be the one to unite them all. And just Bo-Katan walks both wilds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she knows she took the creed. So that's the thing is she took the creed and she bathed in
And
the waters and
She
Yeah.
honored it until she was told
And
to take
she's
it over.
she's house royalty, so
right.
Yeah.
So she has a reach that nobody in that covert quite
I did
has.
like how when Vizsla questioned her walking out without the helmet, you just got that immediate tone where he wanted to just kick her the fuck out immediately, just like
You removed your helmet.
get out,
yeah.
get her out of here.
Yeah, because dude, that's the thing is Vizsla is literally the stereotypical Mandalorian, like what they were.
Yeah.
Like in traditional sense, he is exactly what they were.
Death Watch.
Like we are going to annihilate you. You stand no chance. We are Mandalorian. You are nothing. Like that is kind of turn around, Blue.
Yeah.
See ya.
So, how do you want to tackle this next episode? Because
Well, dude, it's pretty cool. So, so now that Bo-Katan is the leader, they're like, well, I need to go get my fleet and armada back.
Well, because we have that cutscene first where they're operating independently with the ship that they seized from Moff Gideon, and it's not, but it's her second in command that's taken control of that war party, basically.
But they were just like, that's just to kind of show what they've been up to, really.
Right, and the two aliens, the love story.
I loved it.
Hilarious.
It was hilarious.
The goldfish when they drop it in that like a little goldfish looking thing, and it's
Yeah.
bites it. I was like, you know what? That's definitely a Bryce
And I loved it too how
episode. when
I
he-
loved it too how he's like, look, he's like, nothing against y'all, like we just have a job to do.
Yeah, you're right, and they didn't have to do anything, and
He's like, we could just shoot. He's like, but we got a job to do, and yeah, that was pretty legit. I liked that.
he goes, he's like, listen, he's like, we have a task, we have to complete it. Says
Yeah.
what you do after that is none of our business.
Right.
So he's basically saying, we get it, we know you guys are going to do this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Just throw us a bone here.
Yeah, the love story was hilarious.
And it was effective too. Like I liked the placement of it at the very beginning of the episode because it's like, really, you do kind of have that thought. So where the hell have all these other Mandalorians actually been?
Right.
So I like that.
what
I
are
like
they
the
doing?
placement. Yeah.
Old girl was
it's also
back.
kind of like a weird duality between Lizzo's and Jack Black's characters in a way.
Very.
Another Romeo and Juliet type thing where they're kind of forbidden love.
Yeah.
The Duchess
Dude,
and
they
the
went to
ex-Imperial.
they went to the land of Jack Black
Brassiere.
and Lizzo.
Dude,
as soon as like even the shot wasn't even in focus, and the minute he said a word, I was like, I just left go Jack Black. I was like, what the hell?
This is why I don't think I'm gonna be super high on this episode.
Well,
don't like cameos?
A lot of people weren't. So
I'm cool with cameo. Like, I mean, I had Doc Brown in this one. Like, I
know that was another thing. Was like right after that whole thing, and old Grogu's like, "Yeah, sure, lady, feed me," and he hops over to her, and it's all campy and fun. Next scene is Doc Brown's old ass just. Oh shit, watch this sector. I'm freaking 90 and still acting, and it's like, good God, dude, but still loved it.
Yeah, see, like his cameo didn't bug me.
The day of
what's his name?
For some reason,
put it this way,
Commissioner Hellgate or whatever? Or who?
Oh, Jack Black and Lizzo took me completely out of this.
Really?
I love Jack Black. He is a national treasure.
Do you feel like he overdid it with all the beard and the hairstyle?
For some reason, he's just... I couldn't see him, like, just escape into this role. It's just, I couldn't see anything but... It's like with The Rock. We have a problem with The Rock sometimes, which, like, it just seems like The Rock. Like, he has such a presence about him. I can't just not see Jack Black in Star Wars. And I'm just like, it pulls me out of it because I don't see him as his character.
All I will say is before I watched it, people were actually being very nice on Twitter for once, and someone said, like, that's not who they put that is not in all caps who I expected to see in Star Wars, but I'm not mad about it. Yeah, and then, like, I'm watching this episode, and when he starts talking, I was like, oh, okay.
And Lizzo didn't do a bad job either, especially for, obviously I've never seen her in anything before. For her to step in and just be the Duchess and really and hold the role. I mean, she wasn't incredible, but she held.
I definitely wouldn't say
she wasn't incredible, but she played a good role. I mean, I didn't say she didn't play a bad role by any means, especially considering the, obviously the dynamic.
This episode was just an extreme amount of fan service to people like he and I that just watch every damn thing Star Wars put out. Because, like, the entire episode basically ends up being callbacks to Clone Wars.
The Impente and stuff like that. The Impente, the Techno Union.
They say the tech bots. They even say, like, from the Techno Union. I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Yep, Techno Union is no joke. That's why Tech looks the way he looks. Or, no, Echo looks the way he looks as the Techno Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And he's a supporter of your boy.
Dooku.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd's character, Commissioner Belgate.
Because that's the thing that they address in Clone Wars, is that the Separatists weren't, like, just these evil people. Like, yeah, in Attack of the Clones, you get that idea, because it's like, it's all the money players. It's the Techno Union and the banking clan, and Count Dooku and the little insect dudes that, like, also look like a bunch of communists, but... Anyways, that's the idea you get, but then Clone Wars kind of introduces you to the actual, like, how the Separatists have their own Senate, and they have senators still from all the planets that are within, like, that movement, so that's why it was cool that Chris Lloyd was like, no, I like democracy. He basically said, like, no, I like democracy. I just think that what you guys think is right is wrong.
What you guys think, what you're guys doing is not a true democracy.
Right.
That's essentially where he was at, is that he said the corruption of the Republic, because they were, at their core, turns out even more corrupt than people saw.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously...
Like, that's, like, the whole reason why he makes the statement about Count Dooku, because Count Dooku really was, like...
a well-respected political figure.
Yeah, he was, amongst all the Separatists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was cool to call back to him, obviously, because those people still saw him as what they wanted to see him as a leader, instead of a Sith apprentice. That Sith apprentice was a visionary.
I like how, they go to the shipment yard, and he just starts, like, checking them. And just, snap that.
He kicks him in the leg.
Dong. Dong. And then the one just freaks out, punches him, and goes hauling ass. And I was like...
robot vibes.
Right, yeah. Dude, yeah.
And then we get The Ugnaughts. And we're back.
I have spoken.
And this saves the episode from being like a total, why am I watching this?
Yep. Don't worry. I do not hate this episode in the end. In fact, I quite like it.
I love that when he's I'm Din Djarin. I'm Mandalorian Din Djarin, friend of Ugnaught Quill, and they all just look up. They automatically know who he is because he was a legendary droid builder for the Empire. Quill was. And, they use the I have spoken. And, Bo-Katan's completely clueless to how to communicate with these things. It makes them pissed off because they're like, you're malfunctioning droids. Shit's not malfunctioning.
They're like, it's not malfunctioning. And he's like, he's gotta word it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's speaking like a princess, like she is, and he's speaking like one of them. And I think that's going to be the dynamic that she needs him, because without him, I don't think that she's going to have the capability of the outstretch and outreach communication that she needs to rule Mandalore without him, because I think he's pretty much done favors for all the right people.
Well, yeah. She's a little princessy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I thought you of all people would help me. I loved your sister, but I can't do anything about it. It's just,
Yep.
She just kind of expects to get what she needs. Oh, Jordan Walker.
Then we get the droid bar.
Oh yeah, the droid bar.
Amazing.
Totally forgot about it.
I did like the droid bar.
Hilarious. I think
like how they walk in and like all of them just stop and look at the same time, and I was getting major like, this is just
Cantina.
It's kind of weird. It's almost like it's like Cantina, but it's not.
Right. All droids. And it's funny when they call back there because like in Cantina we don't serve droids.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in here and it's all droids, and it's the people that come in and they all look at them like, what are you doing here?
Right.
I did like how there's kind of like an inverse of like, these like AI essentially are worried about humans replacing them when in our life and our reality, it's quite the opposite.
Exactly right.
It's kind of funny to see them play with that.
They're like, well, why wouldn't you? They're like, well, don't you want revenge? They're like, no. They're like, we don't want to be shut off. And then when he says too, he's like, a lot of us are like refurbished droids, and then you like actually see the droids, and again, it's more Clone War era callbacks. It's battle droids from the Clone Wars, and like other like astromechs and other crap left over from like.
Wasn't there a Gunky in there too, or not a Gunky? What's that? What's the robot that they have on the ship in Bad Batch, like the trash bot or whatever?
Isn't that a Gunky?
Or isn't it? Was it?
Or Gunky or something?
Can't remember.
It's something close to that. I feel like I think I saw one of them in there too, and I was like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's pretty sweet though. I mean, and then the Impente, they go back and they're talking to it's like talking to the bar manager, at his desk. He's going through when he goes through all the things.
Dude,
I was like, that's sweet.
that was very satisfying.
It was.
It's like he was going through his Rolodex, just.
Wish I could count money like that.
Right. Yeah.
And what'd she say? She's like, what kind of drinks do you serve here? It says, there are no options like you organics. It says, they get Impente. that's what you get.
Yeah.
You get that. And it programs them to come back to that bar for it.
I
was like, that's kind of cool. That's what Bo-Katan said. So it programs them to come drink here. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, holy shit. It's like us. We get drunk at the bar and more addictive, brings us back to that same place. But droids aren't so different than we are.
We're not so different, you and I.
Yeah. But obviously,
see, I said that.
Yeah. See, and it brings us to the lab where they're looking at the. They say, you think those droids are still active? And that one just turns and sends a laser across the room.
Right.
Cuts it in half with the darksaber. I think they're still active.
I think they're still active.
Oh, God. They find the microorganisms. They find the chain code for Commissioner Hellgate. Because it's illegal to requisition Impente unless you're a droid. Which is weird. So the droids are allowed to requisition items for consumption.
Yeah.
Seems weird, but
it's a different time.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Dude, this is Jack Black and Lizzo's democracy, all right?
Telling you what,
Yeah, they
man.
throw these little snail things and bounce them through hoops. And
Oh, Grogu. Making
Yeah,
it go. I was like, that's amazing.
Using the Force to help her cheat, yeah.
Playing
little rascal.
yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Obviously they go and confront him, and that's when he goes on his tangent about Dooku being a visionary and threatens to turn it. The button doesn't shut them all down.
Yeah, I did like
into battle droids.
Right.
Oh, so that button does the opposite of what
Yeah.
you said it was.
Yeah, this button
Lighter,
actually does the opposite of what I said it does.
Haha, gotcha.
Don't make me touch it.
I just love how they got him into going into a rant, so he was like, he lost focus of what he was even doing, and then to shoot.
Just right in the chest with a
Politics.
just falls. You hear him going,
Yeah.
on the ground. Yeah, it was so funny. He's laying, and then they're all like looking at him. He's like, It's so funny. And then he gets exiled to a moon by Duchess Lizzo. The Duchess.
I did find it kind of odd how he went on that tangent and then just right at the end, just real quick, he was like, I hope I can earn your forgiveness.
Well,
Hey, man, again.
he worked for her family,
Yeah.
not Jack Black's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So,
just didn't like Jack
guess that
Black's
makes sense.
character.
yeah, he said this place was unrecognizable since he's been here.
Yeah.
And, I think because I think he was more angry at the fact that they can't requisition an army or even have an army within their city walls because of his ex-imperial nature. So he is the direct. Like Jack Black goes, I knew he didn't like me. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It was so good. It's
I
like
knew he didn't like me.
yeah, it's so good. I mean, dude, this episode I loved it because it gave you so much, and we haven't got to the best part yet.
I say, if this is where the episode would have ended,
I think
And-
a lot of people would have been a lot more
and
upset than they
I
already
was
were.
thinking it was, and then they cut to the next scene, and I was like, oh, we are getting the hotness after all.
Yep, you get to see her in her 1v1 where she challenges for the command again.
And our
then
girl is back.
Girl's back. She's got her force underneath her again.
But I meant the other girl's back.
Oh, yeah, Sasha's back. Let's
Sasha's
go.
back.
Gabagool.
Yes. Yes.
Gabagool.
I think actually, too, isn't she actually Italian?
I don't know. I just know she's like the cousin of Snoop Dogg.
Double Gabagools.
Okay, that's double then.
Double G.
The GABA and the
Gaba. All this for some Gabagool.
the fight was pretty fantastic.
It
I
was.
mean,
Don't see hand to hand like that very often.
no, and they're fighting like the traditional, like the helmets are off, and I just loved it because like they're both like using their jetpacks to what they can to really try to
Tackle the shit out of each other.
shit out of each
Slams her
other.
to the side of the ship. Just,
Oh, dude, yeah.
I'm like,
I was like,
oh.
ooh. I was like,
That was nice too because he was like, hey, she had him, and he just blasted her to the side. It was so good, so good. And then, I mean, honestly, we talked about this a little bit.
and
on
then
the trip.
I knew she was gonna do the speech again because I think she even says that in Rebels too, where she's like, because in Rebels when she's uniting all the clans the first time, she says like she's like Mandalorians are stronger together.
Together, yeah.
Yeah, that's like her big thing.
Yeah.
So
Hits it with that, and then we've talked about it before. I think that it was the right thing. A lot of people think it was a cop-out that, oh, she didn't win it by... I mean, I've seen it online all over the place. That she didn't win it by combat. Well, technically she did. And
I
she
mean,
really did.
yeah, I just thought it was lame.
Yeah.
I was just like, lame, but fine.
I am very, very torn on this decision because a part of me didn't want the heartbreak of them two having to fight each other.
Yeah. I just don't think
I
what
think
happened.
they're really cool together, but it is kind of like a little bit of a cop out in a way. But
it also
that's
is.
right.
but
I just
it-
kind of feel like the rules of the dark saber are kind of just who cares anymore. Because technically,
Well-
didn't Maul lose it forever ago to
that's the thing.
somebody else?
That's
so
how
it's like
Bo-Katan found it in the first place. Was
like I-
Maul was incapacitated, and then she found all of his stuff with the Darksaber in it. Or was that Sabine?
Sabine found
That
it
was
like
Sabine.
that, and
Yeah.
then they escaped Dathomir with it.
Yeah.
and then she just hands it to Bo-Katan.
Right.
And then Bo-Katan just takes it.
And that's why
They don't
Armor hates her. She thinks the fall of Mandalore is her fault for that.
Right, because she didn't take it by a trial by combat. She just took it, so then all the clans would, like, they all, like, got together and accepted, like, okay, she'll be our ruler.
Well, and here's the thing, too. We don't really necessarily know if all sects of Mandalorian are going to accept that as how she got the Darksaber, just this one. Because she asked him, is this acceptable? Is this...
Yeah, and he's like, it does.
And they thought for a long time about it. And then,
so basically, Din has to tell them all, like, hey, I had it, I got beaten and captured in combat, and then she saved me from my captor, so therefore it's hers.
Yeah, because in his covert, he had it when he left.
Yeah.
When he comes back and she's got it, Armor's going to be like, again? Like,
Right.
We're doing
like
this
that's,
again?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting to kind of figure how, they're going to decide to do that one.
Yeah, because if that was the case, they should have done it there. They should have done it at the covert.
Right.
She should have came back with it at that point. But she gave it back to him. Well, obviously he was probably carrying it at that point, not being worthy, sure. But it could be interesting, because I don't think that they're going to take too kindly to even... unless you want it 1v1 direct, I don't think they're going to respect it. Or this was sure shit not. He got his ass whooped over it already.
Right.
He did.
Yeah, and I don't think Bo-Katan could take Mando or Din straight up. I mean, it'd be a good fight, but I don't think she could.
Straight up, no.
So.
But whatever. They clearly don't want to have Din learn how to actually use it, so.
Well, and I don't think he's capable. I think there has to be some... dude, just the more that I look at it, the more that I feel like there has to be some sort of even just remote force sensitivity. Because he wings that thing around... He's proficient in every weapon in the galaxy, except that.
Right.
Even Finn can pick up a lightsaber and swing that baby around when he had no idea how to use it.
Oh, God, I hope he comes back.
I don't think he'll come
no.
back.
Oh, no, he definitely won't. That actor is very done with that.
He's jaded. Yeah, he's...
I would be.
I would be, too. But, they did him dirty. They did that character dirty, like as they did most of them.
They set him up for such a cool storyline and completely fucking squandered it.
Did you see the deleted scene with the stormtrooper that was talking to him when he was dressed like a captain, like an officer trying to like blend in, and like the stormtrooper was like talking to him and he was like, "You're FN 287 or whatever." He's like, "I joined out with you with Delta, Group 8. Don't you remember me?" He goes, "I remember you," and then he sees Finn go, "Don't do this. Don't do this." And it's Tom Hardy in the scene.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. And they never made it to the movie. Never made it to the movie,
yeah.
Oh, what the?
Yeah.
That would have been sweet.
I know.
Well, I think there's a couple, like, there's stormtroopers, like, there's cameos for who the stormtroopers are, and even in Force Awakens. Like, the one that fights him is someone that's famous.
I'll say the one that, like...
Flea?
The one that straps...
no, God,
dude, Flea's in a lot of them, though.
Okay, but they don't just, like, call Flea up, "Yo, we need another Star Wars thing, bruh."
Bro, he's in a lot of them. And he's even in one without a suit. He's in...
well, yeah, he was in Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of cameos, because I mean, we've talked about it before too. I think Daniel Craig has one.
That's actually
he's the one that's like straps up or is strapping up Rey when she's in the.
Isn't Bateman in Mandalorian when they're those two stormtroopers sitting out in the desert and they're the one that punches Grogu?
That's Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
It's him and I can't remember who the other one is, but that's Jason Sudeikis and someone else.
Hilarious.
So wait, Daniel Craig was the stormtrooper that's guarding Rey.
Yeah, when she's like strapped to the
and she taught. Okay,
that's Daniel Craig.
That all right, and that's actually the one I was thinking of.
I will loosen these restraints.
So I don't know who I was
dropping my weapon when he walks out. Dropping my weapon.
Yeah, overall, I mean, pretty good episode. Finished way stronger.
I think.
Maybe kind of appreciate the episode as well.
I really enjoyed this one, so I'm going to give this one like an 8.5. I just enjoyed all the cameos and all the callbacks to Clone Wars.
To me, the cameos they're just Star Wars characters. You know, like I very staunchly like if you hop into the Star Wars universe, you are no longer Jack Black. You are whatever his name is. You know, like I don't remember that. I remember it's the Duchess and whatever his name is. But once you get into the Star Wars universe, you have now become that person to me. You know.
But you don't know Jack Black's character's name?
Oh. I don't know the Duchess's name outside of the Duchess. Do you?
No, I wouldn't. I would have just said the Duchess like
That's all I got. I could have called him Beardy and just old Beardy and Duchess over there just running whatever place it was again.
Speaking of Jack Black, real quick, did you guys watch that music video that they?
I have not.
Snippet that they dropped of him singing his Bowser.
But is that actually in the movie? That's why I don't want to watch it.
I watched it. It seemed like they
might have a little bit of it.
A little bit, but there were definitely certain parts of it where it was like, oh, well, these are just shots from the trailer that they're just snipping in here. So
right.
So I imagine the song is probably in the movie somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Apparently, that movie's really good if you're a fan of the Mario games.
So I've heard a lot of people stress it's a kids movie, and I'm like, so. So it's Toy Story.
Yeah.
Thing's awesome.
I would have looked at those people and been like, no shit, it's Mario from Nintendo. I don't know if you've ever checked anything out that Nintendo has made, but yeah, pretty kid friendly. Yeah,
they kind of like to own that market.
Right. They kind of like purposely make their gaming consoles shitty and cheap so they're affordable. So the parents
and gimmicky as hell.
Right. So the parents of said 5-year-old children will buy the damn thing.
I did.
I bought a Nintendo.
I got my own. I got one for Grace too. You know, they even doubled down and made the Switch Lite.
Bro, they had me 30 years ago with Pokemon. I'm never leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
As long as they keep spitting out Pokemon games.
Exactly. As long as Nintendo makes Pokemon video games, I'm not going anywhere.
You got a customer for life.
I heard the new one that everybody hated isn't that bad.
It's not bad. They rush the hell out of it.
Glitchy and shit, right?
It's glitchy, and Nintendo they don't patch their games.
That's right. We did talk about that. That's right.
So the games are fun. It's fun, and there's actually like in game to it because like they have like competitive like tier battling online.
Sweet.
I just have not cared to get into it because honestly, it's like pretty strategic. So I just don't have that time anymore.
Right.
I was into that like a few gens back, but anymore I just don't follow it enough.
Yeah, I mean,
the games are super fun though.
But honestly, what did you give this episode?
I'll go 8.5 with you guys. Just because of the massive hype of the end of the episode. It brought up the score quite a bit. Before that, I was probably hovering around maybe like a 6, 8, 7. Then you gave me the hotness I wanted in the end. You didn't bad batch me. You didn't give me a full filler episode before giving me the hotness. You gave me a filler episode, but then still gave me my hotness. I felt like I got my full meal plus dessert. So.
Exactly, and that's the thing too, is this hits for all audiences too, because like for me and Kevin, like this world building of a new area and a new place, and they explained everything of how they work and all this stuff. More world building is what I've been looking for, because obviously we've been to Mandalore, we've been to Navarre, we've been to Tatooine 10,000 times, and 10,000 different places you call it, you know, and some random sand planet, and we get this new beautiful like metropolis, you know. That's what I've been.
And this is the one that Bryce Dallas Howard directed, so I figure.
Yeah, when especially after the fight and the big moment, the episode, each episode she's done, and each season has just been a banger.
Yeah,
and that's why, like, especially with how it ended. Once I saw her name pop up, I was like, "Oh, it makes sense." And I was like, "Yep." Yeah. Ended up being a banger of an episode.
I can't believe, like, people, though, I will say, I know a lot of people online out there, like, this one got kind of dunked on. Probably because, it's a filler episode, and people are like, well, this late into the season, like, why did you have a filler episode? But
I feel like a lot of people's complaints, too, is they just don't, like, and I kind of understand that, too, is like, what's the threat, then, with the last 2 episodes? I mean, it's obviously...
Well, we need to figure out what was that with, like, because he says, like, oh, it was Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. So, like, we need to figure out, like, were they Mandalorians looking for him?
So,
like...
Have you guys seen the Mandalorian helmet that's in the intro of Mandalorian, but it's in red?
Is it in red?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look.
People have basically theorized that maybe either Moff Gideon's going to basically get like a Mandalorian armor set, or it's a different dark Mandalorian, an evil Mandalorian.
Well, they had him.
They had him. That was Gar Saxon's whole faction and clan from Rebels.
Who did he... He is making... The guy who voiced him... He's coming back for something, or he already made an appearance. I can't remember exactly who it was that he voiced, but Gar Saxon's voice actor did come back and make another spot. So that would be interesting if we got like a, like the Mandalorian sect that wore the Empire's armor, essentially.
Yeah.
Get them to come back. But then again, that's really interesting too, because that's where they went after their Death Troopers didn't come through. After Luke just filleted them all.
Maybe. Well, because isn't Moff like a Mandalorian technically? Or is he not?
No, he was the one who led the Purge, Mandalorian Purge.
Mm.
Yeah, Moff Gideon. He's the one that led the Purge that destroyed all of Mandalore. So that's why he was being prosecuted for war crimes, because he wasn't taking prisoners. He was just annihilating everything.
This is the way.
This is the way.
That's the way.
But, guys, I think that's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, I think that wraps up this week. I see you're looking up something. What are you looking up there, KP?
What you were talking about at the beginning of the helmet.
Oh. Romeo and Juliet. All right, well, I'll start with start doing the little outro here. Thank you guys so much. We were at a little over 2.5 hours here. Thank you guys so much. If you guys are still tuned in, appreciate you as always. You could give us a like, subscribe, maybe give us a little comment. What do you guys think of this? All this, Star Wars Celebration news. What you guys been thinking of Mandalorian this season? I feel like this has been a pretty divisive season. So, what do you guys think? If you need an audio-only version, you can find us on Spotify.
That's Din's helmet. They just flashed red over it for some reason.
Filoni or one of them came out and confirmed that it's not Din's helmet.
What? Looks just like it.
Maybe it's Saxon coming back.
Other than that, thank you guys so much. We will see you guys next week on the next episode of T3P. I'm your boy, J Sib. And to my left, researching helmets.
This is... it literally looks exactly like his helmet, but whatever. Alright, I'm KP.
And the bull.
See ya later.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.